Of course, I'm not coming to come and start singing certain kinds of songs here. Songs like "Folake Give Me Love." I can't sing that one because but the message at the back of that song is not edifying. If for your sake I go church. So he's not looking for God, he's looking for Folake. He's just in the wrong place for the wrong reason. If Folake does not agree, he will jump to jail. Those are the people that will not stay in relationship. Because there's no vision. There's no vision. I'm just looking for a girl, like Pastor said, with the boobs and the backside. Give that babe 2 years, make she born one pikin, boob go change shape. And if that's what you were after, what are you going to do? Force her to go and do plastic surgery? So the boobs can stay where you want them? Praise God. You want to bamba? You want to chill with who? Okay. Praise the Lord. I love the meanings of words. And sometimes you think you know a word until you actually go to check out the meaning. I have 2 dogs right now in my house. I used to have like 14. Yes, so I love animals. I had like 14 dogs at a time, giving all of them away. I have 2. One is a Rottweiler. The other one is a Caucasian. It's a Caucasian. But I have a South African Boer bull. She's not with me right now. She went to visit boyfriend so that she can get belly. When she comes back, she'll be in my house. 3 dogs. When I say to my dog, stay, my dog will sit down and it will stay there, or they will stay there. The Caucasian is very stubborn. Stay, he will try, but he's a sanguine. He will sit down, as he's sitting, his tail is wagging. He wants to get up from there. As you are turning your back, once you take 10 steps, turn, Aldo is behind you. He has followed you. But the Rottweiler, her name is Venus. Venus, stay. Venus will sit there. If you put Venus's food here, she will sit down there and wait till you tell her to take it. Aldo, put it here on top of this place and say, Aldo, stay there. Aldo will come here and steal the food. It's his food, but he will steal it. So he's always getting beaten, always getting punished, always getting into trouble, always getting shouted at. If you come back from a place, Venus will jump on you. But if she does this and you say, Venus, stay, she will go back down and wait until you tell her, okay, let's talk. As you are shouting, stay, Aldo is climbing your body. Even visitors that he's supposed to back at, he climbs their body. We're talking about how to stay. Ogo, is that you? Oh, okay. Old friend of mine from Port Harcourt. Ogo Chuku. This guy has one of the most, let me not use the word in church, but you know the type of voice you hear, you think of Teddy Pendergrass. If Ogo open his mouth here, you just calm down. His voice is powerful. I told him, you need to go to media. All those devilish voices that send people astray. We need godly voices too, speaking. Ogo, come. They have to hear that voice. No, Ogo Chuku. Ogo has a studio voice. Ogo Chuku, come. As in body small like this, he packs a punch with his voice. So I don't know what you're going to do, but you don't need broadcast now. So talk.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. First, I would like to give this tribute to Mama. 8 years ago, she had a program, and I was opportune to be in the program. I was a confused 24-year-old. And in my confusion, I met her, and she turned my life around. So I just want to use this opportunity to say thank you, Mommy. Thank you so much.
I think I hear the voice. Who is working in media here? Carry this man. No? They do shine now, so he kind of camped it down. First day I heard his voice, I'm like, what do you do? He said, I'm in school. Doing what? Go to the media. Some of you are wasting your time in school. Have you noticed now that people are not even paying attention to school again? Have you noticed that they have changed style of exam? Have you noticed that now they are not asking people for a certificate of this? They just ask you, are you able to? Creatives. So some of you that have tried school 10 years not working, you are not meant for school. Go somewhere else. I'm not joking. My first son is a marine engineer. My second son is a naval architect. My third son came up and said, I don't like school. He said, I don't like school. And every time he came home, failed, red biro. But this boy is so intelligent otherwise. He's a farmer. He loves animals. My son talks with, he's on record the youngest polo player ever in Rivers Polo Club. If you see him talking with men that are older than his father, you think they're age mates. That's where his passion is. He's an outdoors man. If you like, be forcing the child to go to school, by the time you are tired of enough red biro, you will listen to what he wants. Oh, he's in final year now in the university. He agreed that he will work hard if we let him pursue his dream. Footballer. We say, go to football academy. And that's how my son stopped having red biro. So it's not a must that you must stay in a orthodox school, especially if you're struggling. So stay means to spend some time in a place. Then I like the next one. In a situation. Spend some time with a group or with a person. Spend some time in one place. Some of you cannot stay in one place. Not just physically, please. We're not just referring to one place physically. We're also referring to one place here. You cannot stay in one place. You know why Christians struggle with staying in one relationship? It's because growing up, they taught us about external sexuality. They didn't deal with internal sexuality. Our sexuality external is what everybody sees. Is what is visible. They tell the boys in church, don't touch the girls. It's a sin. They tell the girls, don't let anybody touch you. These are all externals. But I think the sin begins inside before it's expressed outside. And nobody teaches us to put those boundaries around the internal sexuality, where a guy can strip a girl naked sitting in church and nobody knows he just did that. Yellow. Once he sees the girl, today as I came into church, the protocol person that brought me in is a lady. She had my Bible and my bag and she was moving. There was a guy standing outside, those type of guys that Pastor Buki was talking about, making phone call during service. He was standing outside. As the sister passed, bros, I don't sabi to gauge those kind of, if you see eyes, he just do, I knew he had checked that girl out. He had sized her up. He didn't know I was watching him. And that's what I mean by internal sexuality. Nobody can tell that you are chasing after 5 girls with your eyes sitting in one place. Nobody know a girl. Say you they size up the guys, we just enter 5 of them. You don't look, zero in on one. Now that one I like. It's called the internal radar. It's part of the reason why we can't stay in a relationship. To stay means to spend some time in a place, in a situation, in a relationship. So, one of the lies that we have bought is that it's okay to check everyone out. It's okay. I mean, guys, if you are honest, that forms part of your most juicy conversations. How to size up the girl and know whether, not. Yellow, you're quiet now. You're quiet. It's okay. Please, you can quiet, but open your ear and be hearing me very well. You've got to bring, and Pastor Bola made a statement when she began to minister. Are you cuckoo serious about this Christian race at all? What is your identity? Please, today, if your desire is not to make heaven, like Pastor Buki said, if your desire is not to run the Christian race, she said, if you want to run, be spirit coco. If you don't want, go to the extreme. Do them well. Be like Burna Boy. Come up, puffing your stuff. nobody can come and start telling him, can we pray? He has already told you who he is. So today as I'm talking, I'm not talking to anybody who is not in that spirit cocoa or want to make heaven category. If you say that you are a Christian, then there are certain basic expectations that God has of you, that society has of you, that the church has of you. And so you begin to apply the radar of God. The Bible says the spirit of man is the candle of the Lord, and he searches the inward parts of the belly. Your spirit is God's candle. What are you feeding that spirit with? Are you feeding the spirit with the mentality? I run a rehab center. We are also a marriage counseling center. I have people walk into my rehab center with a sense of entitlement. And guys telling me, you know, it's impossible for a guy to be with one woman. I'm like, how? It's not the nature of man. It's in our nature to chase after. I say nature. So I asked them, in whose image were you created? Then they stop saying the image of God. Whose nature are you supposed to be carrying? Nature of God. Is God a cheat? Hello? Is God a cheat? Is God a double timer? God has stayed with Israel with all her adulteries. God has stayed with Israel. They will sin and he will let people take them into captivity. After a while, because of love, he will bring them back. Somebody do you one thing. No, I can't continue this relationship. Get out of here. You do not have the nature of God. You need to start cultivating the nature of God. It's already in you, but you need to cultivate it. You have killed it with your human desires. To stay is to remain in one place with a person. Now, Pastor Bola said something also. She said Christianity has been so watered down these days. What does God call us to? One of the strongest calls of God to us is fidelity, faithfulness, first to him. If you check the 10 commandments, only the first 2 have to do with God. The other 8 have to do with human beings and our relationships with them. Go and check it. So God is particular about how we treat the other person. So how do we define relationship? Relationship is a ship on the water that contains relations inside. Hello? So, I have a guy whose sister was married to a wife beater. The girl had 5 brothers, and he'll be beating her. One day, the 5 brothers just went to the house and beat the living holiness out of him. It's the last day he ever touched the sister. But the sad thing is that one of them was also beating his wife. It's okay for him to do it to his wife, but it's not okay for somebody to do it to his sister. Why? She is his relation. And in his mind, he does not consider his wife his relation. Do you see where we begin to fool ourselves and live double lives? A relationship is a ship that is carrying people in relation who are related. The moment you make a commitment to this person and say, I want to marry you, I'm in love with you, the person is your relation. When my daughter brought the boy she wanted to marry, I said to him, but I don't know you before, I never see you before, but my daughter say, you people love each other, you want to marry. Did she tell you where she did her first degree? He said US. Where did she do her master's? UK. I said, can you quantify that in Naira and Kobo? He said, ma, that's a lot of money. I said, yes. Money that I could have used to buy Louboutin bag and shoe, to buy Prada and Gucci. I used it to raise a lady. Lady is now tushed up and she has attracted you. I say, hear me well. I did not raise a punching bag. I did not raise a what? A punching bag. I said, on the count of violence, my daughter will always have a room in my house. The day you touch my daughter with your finger in anger, I don't carry her. You don't have a wife anymore. He said, my husband said, what type of touch is that? I said, when it gets to your turn, you can say the one that you cannot take. I said, because my father did not do this. The day you slapped me, I couldn't run to him. He did not give. Where there's no law, there's no sin. So because my father didn't say, don't touch my daughter, he touched me. And I couldn't go to my father. My father couldn't say anything either because he didn't touch his own wife. There's no moral courage to confront my husband. So I said to my husband, because they did not draw that line for you, you crossed. Me, I'm drawing it now. Oh boy. So the guy answered me, very wise man. He said to me, ma, my dad never did it, so I don't have an example to copy. Say, absolutely, I don't have an example to copy. He's alive. He says, secondly, I've never fought in my life. I'm not a fighter. I don't fight. I walk away. Then he said, but ma, please, I want to say one more thing. I said, what? He said, I don't know what I will do if she slaps me first. I said to him, sir, the day you marry my daughter, you also become my son. If it's not okay for you to slap her, it is doubly not okay for her to slap you. I said I didn't raise her that way, but if her head no correct, she raises her hand and slaps you first. Anything where she see, may she take. She was sitting there. Because when it comes to brute force and strength, you are not as strong as this man. What devil will possess you to raise your hand and slap somebody that is stronger than you? Ray. It's Ray that is doing you. Do you understand? I said, you become my son the day you marry my daughter. So, he's not a son-in-law, he's my son. And nobody touches my children. He's also my son. If my daughter touches you, I deal with her. When we begin to switch our brain from that, oh, she's just my wife, he's just my husband, she's just my girlfriend, he's just my boyfriend, to this is my relation. We are connected now in the spirit. It's a matter of time we'll be connected in the flesh because we are now married. Then your attitude towards the person will be different. You will stay. You will forgive. You will overlook. Praise God. Stay. How to stay in a relationship. The second definition says to continue to be as specified. To stay like that. It has been specified that we're in a relationship. The reason your eye is hovering and looking at 20 other women is because you bought the idea that it's okay to think about 20 other women. David said something. He said, I will maintain integrity in my house. David is not maintaining integrity outside, inside his house, meaning that who you see outside is who you will see inside. I hope you know that there are people that don't resemble. When Pastor Bola was saying pay surprise visit, he's little away. You will be surprised that this person that looks so docile, so amiable, so agreeable is actually a terror. Terrifying terror. To be as specified, he's a Christian. So when you see him at home, he's a Christian. When you see him in church, he's a Christian. See him at work, he's a Christian. When you see her at home, she's a Christian. You see her at work, she's a Christian. You see her in church, she's a Christian. To stay as specified. You cannot stay in a relationship if you don't know how to stay as a believer who stands for something. It's impossible. If there are no checks from the word of God to hold you accountable as a man of God, as a woman of God, you don't have what it takes to stay in a relationship. Why? There is no governing rule or governing body. They bring people to my rehab center. And we ask them, what's your faith? If they tell me they are Christian or Muslim or Hindu, I take them. If they say to me, I'm an atheist or I'm agnostic, an atheist says there is no God. That's the one the Bible calls a fool. The agnostic says there is God, but he's not for me. I don't need a God. I know there is a God out there, but I don't need it. Those two categories, we tell them we can't help you. The only thing we can help you do is detoxify your body. But as for change, we can't help you. Why? You have no higher power that you subscribe to. Having a higher power you subscribe to means that his opinion matters to you. When you don't have a higher power, we can't help you because you don't give a hoot about anything or anyone. It's about you. And when you enthrone yourself as God, you have just set yourself up to die and die cheap. Praise God. So how to stay in a relationship? First of all, determine who you are. Who am I? Christian? All right. What is the standard for Christian behavior when it comes to relationship? Am I allowed to have a girl who's mine and another one who's not mine, but I'm just taking as mine? Like you call them side chick. I have a guy who's mine, but I need another one who's a side cockerel. What do you call them? Eh? Side guy. Don't tell me guy. If you call the girls chick, why should you call yourself guy? Side cockerel. Side cockerel, side. Leave it. Oh, a young girl came to me. She said, Ma, and she had no sense of shame or remorse as she was speaking to me. Excuse me, Ma, there are two men in my life. Okay, so I was thinking she's saying they are both chasing her. That's okay. I mean, the more the merrier, isn't it, girls? We feel better when there are like 10 guys like, oh my God, I'm all that. There's 10 guys, man, and they all got eyes just for me. Man, all of this, man, I'm just it. Be careful, oh. He will soon turn to it, indeed. She's like, there are two guys in my life. I say, okay. She said, what? The one I really like, the one I love and I really like, he does not have money. But the other one that I don't really like is the one that has all the money. He spoils me. He bala, 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 bala. He said, but recently we've been fighting a lot with him. I said, why are you fighting a lot with him? Actually, it's because of the kind of business he does. What type of business does he do? Me, I thought she would tell me he sells alcohol or he's into sex toys. Something that is blatantly a sin. You know what she told me his business is? Yahoo, Yahoo. He said, Ma, it's all this, internet fraud. So, and he brings me money. I'm like, wait, what did you say his work is? Internet fraud. They use internet to make money. I said, and you're okay with that? She was looking at me. And you could see the look on her face like, why is she flogging the issue? It's normal now. I like boy, he no get money. This one, I know like and true, but he get money. So I don't know who to follow. I told her, you are a fool. I told her, you are a fool. Like Pastor said, compound fool. I said, you know what's going to happen to you very soon? She said, no. I said, both of them will dump you. You're sowing a seed. Let me tell you the truth. Each of them has another girl. You're not the only one. Why? Whatsoever a man soweth. You people don't think about it. You think you are smart. You have 5 girlfriends. Each of the 5 girls have 10. You don't expect that it will happen to you. Oh, you don't expect that she can do that back to you. You expect that, oh, she loves me so much, she worships the ground that I walk on. She can't do that. She can't step out on me. Ray. Hello. What right do you have to expect fidelity when you are not fidel? Or fidelis is expecting fidelia. But fidelis is not fidelis. Fidelis is Baba Solo. Baba Solo, Solomon, King Solomon. You can't call Solomon Solomon. It will not portray the image of him. You call him Baba Solo. 1,000 women, my God. He's a scary man. So you call him Baba Solo. Some of you sitting here today are Baba Solo. Some of you women sitting here are younger sisters to Gomer, the wife of Prophet Hosea. Hosea loved that woman as God expected him to. Forgave her adulteries many times. He would go and bring her back after she has been with other men. But she could not understand the depth of that love. She kept going out because her eye was outside. Job never committed adultery, but Job is one of the most powerful expositors on the consequences of stepping out on your spouse. He said, listen to this, if I have lurked at another man's door, if I have beheld a maiden untowardly, he said, then let my wife grind for other men. Go read it, it's there. What does it mean for your wife to grind for other men? Other men will hump over her, forgive me to use the word. So when you go out and commit adultery or fornication against somebody you're in relationship with, you're not staying. What you simply did was to trigger a spiritual law that sentences your spouse to doing the same. It's a spiritual law. Haven't you heard a man committed adultery and his wife went and did her own? When they confront her, she said, he's the one that started it, I was only revenging. No, she wasn't revenging. She was responding to the spiritual law that the husband triggered by cheating. Yellow. Job is the same one who said, I have made a covenant with my eyes. This is where your identity starts to speak. I have made, so he sat down and said to his eye, I am making a covenant with you. Oh, that's, you say, but that's very extreme. If you don't do extreme, guy, you ain't going to go to heaven. You're going to miss heaven because you didn't make no covenant with your eyes. Anything you see, you go look. So 3 pastors got together and decided we're going to be praying for each other, interceding for each other so that we'll stand as men of God. Say, okay, if you have any weaknesses, let us know. The other one said, I've been touching the offering in church, small. They say, okay, we'll pray for you. The other one said, me, I lost after the girls, so I usually look when they're passing. Say, we'll pray for you when we go. The third one said, I don't have any of those problems, so I'm okay. It's just that anything I hear, I must talk. They say, we are praying for you here. We are not going to pray for you. We are praying for you here. We want to go and say the things we just said now. So your own case, everything you see, you must look. Hello? So I think the place that the work needs to begin is here. Your heart. And when we say heart, we're not talking about the physical organ that pumps blood. We're talking about where you place your priority. Who are you? Can I see you in 10 years' time and still see the same person? Or when I see you in 10 years' time, I wouldn't realize that for the last 9 years you were just a pretender. This is the real you. Hello? Right. So let me move on. I can't go through all the definitions of stay, but go and check it. Luke chapter 6, verse 37. Please give me message translation. Luke 6, 37 and 38. How to stay in a relationship. When you focus on people's strengths, they are magnified. When you focus on their weaknesses, guess what? They are also magnified. So choose. I was speaking to one of the young men in my rehab center, addicted to crack cocaine. So I was having a one-on-one with him. This guy shocked me. I asked him, so apart from drugs, any side of you that is strong and good? He said, yes, ma'am. I said, what? He said, I have 53,000 followers online, on social media. I said, doing what? He said, cryptocurrency. He has made millionaires out of people. But he couldn't keep $1 million because he's using it for crack cocaine. And I said to him, do you see that you are more powerful than drugs? There's more to you than just drugs. There's so much that you... He started crying. Because once he started using drugs, everybody started behaving as if there's nothing else to his life except the drugs. He's useless. But now suddenly it was like, yeah, I have a strength. I have something positive. I said, if you channel your energies there, guess what? This power that you have with drugs, you will have it with business. And you already tasted it. But look at, it says, don't pick on people. Jump on their failures. Can you read it anyway? Yeah. Criticize their faults. Unless, of course, you want what? Talk. Unless, of course, you want what? Don't condemn those who are down. That hardness can boomerang. Be easy on people and you'll find life what? One of the reasons people don't stay in relationship. She's this, she's that. Pastor Bola spoke. She said there are some things that can be worked on. You are not shouting about this girl because of a fundamental character flaw. You're shouting because you're a perfectionist looking for perfection. Well, it don't exist. They say what God cannot do does not exist. I know one. Hello? God has never created a perfect human being. It exists. No perfect person. So you look at yourself with the eye of having it all, then you use, I don't even know how you do it. One eye is looking at you and saying, wow, God's gift to mankind. The other eye is looking at everybody and like, Pastor Buki said the last point he gave us about people that will not make heaven is when you think you are better than others. So the standard you use to judge yourself, let's assume you shouted at somebody. All right? And somebody now shouted at you. You'll excuse yourself by, the provocation was high. Then you will condemn the other person by saying, why is she always shouting like that? This is not what I do. Who told you that you get to choose how your behavior offends others? You don't get to choose how your behavior affects others. They get to say. Do you know that the standard of who you are is not what you think you are, it's what people that are in close relationship with you say you are? You don't get to ask your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, why should you be offended? You just need to accept you're offended. Because your why may not be their why. I think I've told the funny story here of a marriage that ended after 2 weeks. Big society wedding. Finished the wedding, went on honeymoon, came back after 10 days. We're in the house. Guy is sitting on the settee, the 3-seater. And she comes and lies down and puts her head on his lap. Then she hears a loud noise. And she sat up and she said, what was that? He said, what? She said, I just heard a sound. I just heard a loud noise. He said, oh, that was just me gassing. The guy won't mess. He mess. Loud. And she said, what? My head was on your lap and you gasped.
Be careful of the leader.
What kind of a barbarian are you? Barbarian?
He has run several far.
Huh? What did he say? Somebody is making. It's not me. Okay. What kind of a, he said, you are calling me a barbarian? Then he proved to her that he is a barbarian. He beat her because she was insulting his whole family. And that was the end of the marriage. She packed her things and left, and they never reconciled. What was going on here? The girl came from a family that if you want to gas, you take permission and leave the table. Or leave the parlor and tiptoe out. Then you gas and wait for the smell to pass. There's some gas. Before you take the permission, they have a spirit of their own. Yeah, it has just... But the guy came from a family where the louder you were, the funnier it was. In fact, if you want to gas, you will hold it and look for somebody. Then pow on the person. Hello? So they come into that relationship, and like Pastor Bola said, there has been no talking, no agreement, no... Listen, you want to stay in a relationship, there is no taboo topic to be discussed. No topic is taboo. Down to if I mess for you, you go vex. Ask it. When I met my husband, I think the second time, he just gasped one loud gas. I said, Oga, what is that? He said, my father told me that when you meet a girl, gas for her very loud so that the day it comes out by accident, there will be no problem. Talk about it. There is no topic that should be taboo if you want to stay in a relationship. Because most of the time, it is things that blindside us that cause the problems. I didn't know this. How do you marry a girl and not tell her you have a 10-year-old son? You want to stay. You want her to stay and you start the marriage. Pastor quoted the scripture, if the foundations be destroyed, what can the righteous do? You found an eternal covenant on falsehood. How do you marry a guy and not tell him you gave birth to 2 children before? Because you still look like nothing happened. And then you be telling them, it's my sister's children. They are my niece and my nephew. 10 years down the line, he finds out they are your children. And you want to stay. You want him to stay. If you don't have the trust in the relationship to give that kind of information, it's not a good relationship. If I can't look at you and say, I have 2 children, and wait for you to decide if you want me and the 2 children, then that's not a good relationship. Because it's founded on fear. If I tell him, he will leave me. One of my siblings got married to a young lady. They live in the village, so they did traditional marriage. When she was pregnant, somebody from her family came to my family house. My parents were both dead by then. And went to the oldest woman that is in our clan and asked her, did our daughter tell you that she has an illness? Wow. My auntie said, what do you mean? Did she tell your son that she has a terrible illness? And she said, no, we don't know anything about her. Said she's HIV positive. And she didn't tell my brother. Of course, you know what happened to that marriage. My brother is not a believer. Even if he was a believer, if he's my son, as believer as I am, reverend, that girl is gone. Because you can kill. Guess what? She was taking the antiretroviral drugs. But she didn't tell him that she had HIV. So when he confronted her, why would you do that? And I was afraid that if I tell you, you will not marry me. He did not marry her, none. Everybody in the family told her, get out. We took the child. Thankfully, because she knew, she took all the precautions. The child is not positive. How to stay in a relationship. You can't come with deception. How many of you remember the story of Amnon and Tamar? Can you find that scripture for me? Samuel, I think it's 2 Samuel. Amnon, the son of David, that raped Tamar. I want to show you something from that story that caught my attention quickly. And somebody needs to give me an idea of my timing so that I don't overshoot. Can you find that story about Amnon and Tamar for me? And you can give me the scripture in King James. It doesn't matter. Can you find it for me? I want to show you somebody there that if you want to stay in a relationship, you cannot afford to have people like that. Can you find it for me? Can you search? Quickly, I don't remember where it is. It just came to me. Yeah, I see it. 2 Samuel 13. Okay, sometime later, this happened. Absalom, David's son, had a sister who was very attractive. Her name was Tamar. Amnon, also David's son, was in love with her. Next verse. Amnon was obsessed. I like that. With his sister Tamar, he wasn't in love, he was obsessed. If you want to stay in a relationship, Auntie Bola said, do a love check. Do I really love this person? So he was obsessed with her, not love. You are obsessed with the figure 8. Akoti la bamba. Lakoti la bamba. That's what you like. The big chest and the big backside is what is attracting you. You are not loving the person. He said he was obsessed with her, with his sister Tamar, to the point of making himself sick over her. When a person is obsessing over you and they are possessive, run, no. That's not love. That's a narcissist coming after you. Male or female. Guys, don't be deceived. There are female narcissists. When they enter your life, you lose yourself. You won't believe it. He made himself sick over her. She was a virgin, so he couldn't see how he could get his hands on her. Is this a lover? All he's thinking about is how to get his hands on her, not to have a wife and a relationship. Next verse. Amnon had a good friend. Let's finish reading. We'll know whether he's a good friend or not. He had a good friend, Jonadab, the son of David's brother, Shimei. Jonadab was exceptionally streetwise. Hey, all those your friends that have all the strategies for laying the babe. He said to Amnon, why are you moping around like this day after day? You, the son of a king. You, Boboke. No be you again, Elias, slay and keep slaying. No be you again, Elias, lay them and keep stepping. He said, tell me what is eating at you. In a word, Tamar, said Amnon, my brother Absalom's sister. I'm in love with her. See, he's lying to himself even. You have so lied and lied, you are lying to yourself. I'm in love with her. You are not. I'm in lust with her. Lust. I am in lust with her, not love with her. Next verse. Here is what you do, streetwise guy. Okay. Here is what you do, said Jonadab. Go to bed. Pretend you are sick. When your father comes to visit you, because the father always visits when his children are sick, say, have my sister come and prepare some supper for me here where I can watch her and she can feed me. Next. So Amnon took to his bed and acted sick. When the king came to visit Amnon, Amnon said, would you do me a favor? Have my sister Tamar come and make some nourishing. I don't want to read the rest of the story. Long and short, he raped her. Can you find, I think the next chapter, where Absalom killed Amnon for raping the sister? Can you find that part for me? I want to show you something. Please, I don't know. I think it's chapter 14. I'm not sure. I'm sorry about this. It just came to me as I was standing here. Next chapter, where Absalom killed Amnon. No, this is after he has killed. Go back. So it's still chapter 13 then. Yeah, go down. Go down chapter 13. You'll find what I'm looking for. Where Absalom killed Amnon. Yep, keep going. He has not killed him this time. He's inviting him to the feast. Keep going. So Absalom killed Amnon after 2 years for raping his sister. He kept the thing in his heart. Then somebody came and told the king that, go to verse 30. I want you to see what they told the king. Please. Verse 30. While they were still on the road, a rumor came to the king. That's the king's sons ran away when Absalom killed Amnon. So a rumor came to the king. Absalom just killed all the king's sons. Not one is left. Be careful of rumor mongers. Oh. The king stood up, ripped his clothes to shreds, and threw himself on the floor. All his servants who were standing around at the time did the same. All the king's sons are dead. Next. Just then, look who shows up again. Hello? Why is he always around? Because the people that are on devil's assignment are very strategic. Just then, Jonadab, his brother, Shimei's son, stepped up. That means that my master must not think that all the young men, the king's sons, are dead. Only Amnon is dead. This happened because of Absalom's outrage since the day that Amnon violated his sister Tamar. Nobody knew the secret of Jonadab. Nobody knew that Jonadab was the one who gave the counsel for Tamar to be raped. Here he is. When the person he counseled had already died, he's still alive. All those people you are listening to, you will die. They will still be here. Look at it. And forever his secret was safe because Amnon was dead. There was nobody to expose how evil Jonadab is. You want to stay in a relationship? Antibola said it. Or was it Badabuki? Who are the friends that surround you? You want people that have broken all their relationships to be the ones advising you. Be careful of stereotypes. I am counseling a couple right now. The girl's mother walked away from their marriage. And every little thing, she will tell him what her mother has been telling her. That's how all you men are. My mother already told me. Why should I trust a man? And I told her 2 days ago, I said, you are one of the most stupid women I have ever met. You have a good man and you are throwing him away. This man walks. She doesn't walk. He does everything. He's pushing himself. He's providing. He's paying. And he's not Nigeria, so you have to understand what I'm saying. Working 2-3 jobs to take care of the family. Patient. I've seen very few men like that too. I will not lie to you. For my mind that they say, hey, you know, be say I don't hold. I go tell this man, leave that woman away, come meet me away. Good man. And there are good men, ladies. Don't let anybody lie to you and tell you there are no good men. There are good men. Did you hear the confidence with which Brother Buki said that he courted his wife for 7 years and he didn't touch her? There are good men. Just that the bad ones are very loud, so you think there are many. They are not. Don't let anybody lie to you. There are good men. And Brother Buki said, if you ask God, he will show you. Hello? Let me. I didn't even enter anything inside which I want to, but you do. Let you ask and hear. Let him hear. So, I needed one more verse from that Luke chapter 6. Verse 38. We stopped at 37, Abby. Be easy on people. Be easy on people and you'll find life a lot easier. Next verse. Give away your life. You want to stay in a relationship? You can't come there expecting, wanting, taking. Give away your life. Bros, you have jumped, yo. Go to 38. Give away your life. You will find life given back. It's because we don't believe this. So we want to take our life so we don't get anything in return. Give away your life, you'll find life giving back. But not merely giving back with what? Giving back with what? And what? Blessing. Giving, not getting, is the way. Generosity begets generosity. When you come into the relationship and all you are looking for is a housekeeper and a cook, you will be reduced to money machine. Just bring the money. I don't care whether you love me or not. Bring the money. Giving, not getting, is the way. This is the example of Jesus, people. He gave. There's nothing you can give to God. Nothing. There's nothing you can add to God. And yet, he gave. And in giving one life, how many millions are following him now? Boom. You will not only get a bonus, you get a blessing. I have proved it, people, in my own life. Not just in relationships, romantic relationships, even other relationships. I have seen the reality of this scripture, and it's an easier way to live. Let me ask you a series of questions, and then I'll be done. Number one, what are you committed to? Are you committed to God? Are you committed to making a relationship work? Are you committed to faithfulness? What are you committed to? Because many of us are going around, we're committed to nothing. And they say if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. Anything. Second question, is there anything you are resolute about? My pastor preached a message a few days ago, and he said, when people come to him for marriage counseling, he asks them, what is your breaking point? What is it that you know you cannot take? And this person will say, if he ever cheats on me, I can't do it. The other one will say, if he ever hits me, I cannot do it. I'm gone. And he said, the moment you draw that line, Satan also hears it. Then he starts to instigate events that will make that happen so that the marriage can break. That is his aim. So he says to them, I want you to begin to pray and say, Lord, even this one, I will forgive. Or even this one is not enough to break my resolution to stay in this marriage. Praise the Lord. Powerful, isn't it? Yes. And then number 3, have you learned the art of negotiation? Have you learned the art of negotiation? You want to stay in a relationship, you must become a seasoned negotiator, not a dictator. As you are dictating, they are walking away with the dictation paper in their hand. What you are writing, they have written it down. Is it not dictation? and they are walking away. You can't do anything. You either are a negotiator or a dictator. A negotiator will stay in a relationship. A dictator will not stay. Nobody will stay with you. You can stay, but they will not stay. Praise the Lord. Have you learned to be a negotiator? From home, how many of you saw that little boy that the mother wanted to beat? And you're saying, Mommy, I want you to be calming down. What did the governor of Lagos say to him? He said, you should be working as a negotiator. He was negotiating terms. Did his mother not stop and listen to him? Was she not laughing at a point? Because he was seriously negotiating. It's like, my children will do something, you want to beat them. You have already told them, if you go outside without your shoes, I'm going to flog you 6. They go outside without the shoes. You catch them and they come back. Come here. Go and bring the cane. They bring the cane and they will throw it from far. And they will stand. Mommy, please. Can I just say one thing? I say what? Please, can you flog me? Only 2? They're negotiating. You don't have to live in a life of absolutes. Negotiate. You know why? If now you need the cooling down today, learn to negotiate. Or if now the other person need the cooling down, cool down, no. Because tomorrow you'll be the one needing the person to cool down. And if you do not show grace, you cannot expect grace. Next question. Have you overcome any temptation of the flesh before? Yeah. Have you overcome? If you never overcome, oh boy, try first. Because marriage does not cure wandering eye. Marriage does not cure attraction to the opposite sex. Marriage does not cure adultery and fornication. Marriage compounds it because now there are boundaries. Marriage throws up your problem because now there is a boundary, and if you cross it, you know, say palava fit come. Some people think that marriage will cure masturbation. Lie. You have compartmentalized your brain. One part is for masturbation to satisfy. The other part is actual sexual intercourse. So every time you're having sex, you are not fully satisfied because one half is already taken by masturbation. Every time you're masturbating, because you have experienced sex with your spouse, your brain is saying, there's more pleasure. Then the devil will deceive you. Since masturbation is not satisfying and your wife is not satisfying, get a side cheek, get a side cockerel. But you don't know, once you get that side cockerel, you have also divided the brain into 3. Yeah, you have divided your pathway of pleasure into 3. So, the more outlets for your sexuality you have, the more you are fracturing the brain, the less the pleasure you are getting. Because each one is reduced, and your brain already knows there is a full load that I could get. But because you have fractured it, you get a piece each time. The more people you add, the more outlets you add. You can add pornography, the two will divide into 4. The pipe that delivers the pleasure will divide into 4. Then the devil will deceive you. If you cannot get enough pleasure from your wife, pornography and masturbation, maybe you should have 3 women at the same time. You just added 3 more compartments. Then you have 7. Your brain is a multi-directional brain. It will never find the satisfaction that God designed because you have fractured it. Male or female, don't be looking at me because some girls, hey, maestro. Women are fast catching up with men sexually. The percentage is not that wide a gap anymore. Next question. What does fidelity mean to you? Because you can say, that's how my father did it, and he succeeded. He had 6 wives, they never fought. Lie. What the fighting they did was not physical. That's why today you and your brothers can't trust each other, and they are all dead. Your father has died, your mother has died, the other mother has died, but you people can't trust each other. They were fighting. Because the design from the beginning was not one man and many women. It was one man and one woman. Once you shift from that order, you get chaos. And sometimes the chaos is not visible. How many of you have seen an iceberg before? An iceberg in the water. Iceberg, that those ice mountains in the water that you see. What you see at the surface is 1/3. The main part of the iceberg is underwater. You don't see it. Number whatever it is. Have you learned forgiveness? Have you learned forgiveness? The pastor says some people say, I can keep malice for 5 years. You don't know me. You are priding yourself on something that is killing you inside, eating your body and giving you cancer. But you are proud about it. Now, so we do for our family. If we vex, we can do anything. How can you be proud of evil? It's normal. It has become your normal. Now, so we did for our family. When we vex, we can do anything. When the vex don't pass, our eye go clear. Have you sat down? Have you sat down to scrutinize your mindset? Hey! Which ones do you question or challenge? Do a self-check. There are some stupid mindsets we come into relationship with from where we're coming from. You need to scrutinize your mindset. Oh, Osinachi's son said that when his father is beating his mother, he'll be telling them it's good to beat women. That is the model. My son-in-law said, my father didn't do it, so I have no model to copy. Now, this boy is not only that his father is doing it, he's teaching him that the right way to treat a wife is to beat her. So the boy comes into a relationship. If nothing happens to challenge that mindset, he will beat his wife, not because he's a bad man, but because that's what he was taught. He was taught. Do you understand that? Are you challenging your mindsets? Why would you allow yourself to believe that a man can't stay with one woman? It's the wrong mindset. Are you challenging it? Or are you accepting it because it helps your flesh to stay in the place of sin? Why would you as a woman believe? Let me tell you one thing that almost destroyed my marriage in the first year. My dad was not nice to my mom. He was very, very unkind. But my mom would never say a word. Never. When I say never, I'm not exaggerating. Never. My dad would do anything. My mom would just be quiet. When we started growing up, we started challenging her. Why do you take it? Can't you talk? Mommy, why are you silent? One day we were tired. We stood up ourselves and jacked our father. We pay school fees tired by ourselves. The man said, you are fighting me. Let me see who will pay your school fees. My mother was a housewife. She had no income. We pay school fees tired. So when I got married, I didn't know that I had formed a mindset. And the mindset was, I didn't say it out, but now so my spirit they do. Let me marry. Let any man try this nonsense with me. Hey, I'm not my mother. I will not repeat my mother's life. So I entered marriage with that. If my husband should just do one small thing where resemble what my papa been they do, not be the same thing. No. Pow, explosion. Why? The mindset. This is my dad, this is my dad, this is my dad. I can't take it. I'm not my mother. I will not repeat my... Which mindset are you carrying that you need to challenge if you want to stay in a relationship? One day my husband asked me, Christy, what was your father's name, I beg? I said, my father's name was Stephen. I didn't know why he was asking. He said, your father's name was Stephen. My name is Greg. I'm not your father. Please stop making me pay for Stephen's sin. Any small thing, you just be, wow, what is all this? I'm not Stephen, I'm Greg. And that's when I realized that, wow, that mindset was speaking here. Please check, scrutinize. A few more questions and I'll be done. Have you developed the maturity to allow yourself to be measured? Pastor Bola said, do a maturity check. Here I'm saying, will you allow yourself to be challenged when you are falling short? Can your wife say to you, my husband, you are not doing well with patience. You are very impatient. And you will take it and go and look at it critically. Can your husband say to you, my wife, you talk too much. When I say too much, you say things without weighing them. And you will take it and go and work with it. Have you developed the maturity to allow yourself to be measured? Measure me, please. Tell me how I'm doing. Do you have the grace to tell people to say, please tell me how I'm doing? To tell your girlfriend, tell me how I'm doing. Tell your boyfriend, I don't want to say that because she'll just come and count 20 things. 20 things that you have to look at. She's not manufacturing them from the air. He's not manufacturing them from the air. How determined are you to do better than your parents or better than the stories that you have heard? How determined are you? What are you willing to do to feed that determination? What are your views about violence and abuse? I will not beat her. Pastor was saying, some of you will say, I've never hit my wife before. But the things you have said are worse than beating. You are beating the self-esteem out of her. Some of you women, of course, you dare not raise your hand on that guy that has muscles. But by the time you finish abusing him, he's as weak as your 2-year-old baby. You have broken his spirit. How can a man come home after a hard day at work and his wife looks at him and says, you call yourself a man? Please go and see men outside there and stop fooling yourself here. I don't care if he just made $1 million that day. You've just reduced him to a 2-year-old by the words of your mouth. Amen? I think I have the last question and then I'm done. What is the importance you will attach to God and His word concerning your marriage? That's what Auntie Bola said. Where does God fit into your plans? God does not fit. Say, I want to marry a praying woman. I'll be making all the money. She'll be praying. You think that's what God called you to do? You are the priest over your home. The first prayer warrior should be you. Say, I'm not really a Christian, no, but I know that if I just go to church, I'll find one strong Christian woman. Our home will be okay. You will see demon operating through the strong Christian woman because you have abdicated your responsibility and your place. Praise God. Did you learn anything?
Count those beautiful hands. You can do better than that. You can do better than that. I told you this session was going to be interesting. Thank you, Pastor, for that. Funny thing was, yesterday when he spoke, the exact thing you said, I was asking, do you work in a radio station? Did I ask him or not? I asked him, was he an OA? To be honest, I told him. So, my brother, may you change profession. Or you already work there? You work in the radio? Oh, he's there already. So what about now? Okay, do you have any questions for... Please, Amaka, help me with the mic. Okay, she said 2, just 2. Okay, himself, I would like a lady so that we'll just have it balanced. Who's the lady? Okay, Amaka, just be close to the lady. All right.
Thank you so very much, Ma. That was so very powerful message. So my question is, there's someone who is dating a non-Adventist. You know, the topic was discussed this morning, and then it pricked me a little bit. And then dating a non-Adventist, but this non-Adventist has major qualities. But the issue here is just that there hasn't really been major resolution on the day of worship. It hasn't really been finalized. In this situation, and then we are looking at how to remain in a relationship and staying in a place for a while and then trying to work out things. What should be the fate of this relationship?
Dead. Is dead. The issues of faith are so critical and pivotal. You cannot make compromises about them. If this lady, or I don't know who the Adventist is and who is not, whoever it is, you cannot resolve. Let me even warn you. If you are an Adventist, when you meet somebody and you are liking the person, from day one, ask, now which church should they go? If na Sunday person, waka. Don't even get into those difficult situations of fighting over things like this. Why? It's a critical thing for an Adventist. Church is on Saturday. And this other person is also a critical thing for the person. Church is on Sunday. Where una one start? Then, Auntie Bola gave one example in the morning. She said, you give birth to a baby girl. This person believes that they pierce like 6. You know there are people that pierce up to 6 holes. Adventists don't believe in piercing at all. Then you start fighting in the hospital over a baby. Then the next thing that will happen, when the children are now old enough to go to church, where are they going to go to church? So this person is feeding from this altar. The other person is feeding from this altar. And you're clashing in the house. Why do you want to kill yourself before you start the journey? If you have entered the relationship, okay, I'm talking about people who haven't entered, just keep going. If you have entered the relationship and you can't resolve it, you give it up. Otherwise, you will divorce. It's better to give up a relationship engaged than to break up a marriage later. At this point, there are complications of children, family involved. Right now, it's just the two of you. It's like people who have AS genotype. If you ask, I'm AS, kill that love. Oh. Kill it, walk. Unless you have the money to go to the hospital and have them to pick the genotype of your child as you are conceiving. That's crazy money. It's like IVF. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't get yourself caught up in things like this that you know have potential for trouble and then only want to backtrack when you have already entered. No enter at all. Instead of making a vow and not fulfilling the vow, do not vow at all. So if you are Adventist and the person you meet, you ask them from the beginning, are you a person of faith? Yes. What faith? Adventist. I'm Winners Chapel. We dey go church on Saturday. You are not even thinking of the family that will just hear that you have gone to enter a relationship with Adventists. Adventists, Seventh-day Adventists. They are not Christians. Seventh-day Adventists, they are not believers. Haven't you heard the doctrine of Seventh-day Adventists? They now condemn the whole generation of the person. And you'll be getting offended. Is it my family they're talking about like that? We love God. We're Christians. Who excluded us from the family of Jesus? Please, there are some stresses you don't need. Don't use your hand and carry. I have a sickle cell child. I like to be vulnerable, so you know why I'm vehement. She has started doing videos now. And she's saying, I don't care how much that love is. You give up on that love rather than saddle people like me with this kind of pain. My daughter is about to have bone marrow transplant because I didn't know to ask. I didn't even ask my husband, waiting be genotype. I know waiting be genotype. I have a sickle cell child. She has suffered for all her life. She's 25 years old. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't get into these things that are avoidable. Don't tell me faith. There is faith, there's foolishness, and there's presumption. Where are you standing?
Okay.
Hello. Okay. My question goes like this. I have a friend, she asked me the question, so I don't know the advice I will give her. That's why I want to ask the question. She said she wants to get married, and she has been praying to God about it. Then she had a dream twice. The person she wants to marry is not the one proposing to her in her dream. So she's now asking me, what is she going to do? And the person in question that is proposing to her in her dream is she has not even come in contact with the person, but she knows the person. So she's now asking me, what is she going to do with the current relationship?
She gets spiritual husband. Please, I'm joking. No, I beg. Please, it's a joke. It's not spiritual husband anything. Okay, now, you see somebody proposing to you in the dream. Why are you suddenly assuming that because you're seeing him in the dream, he's really the one you should marry? It's an assumption. So you bring that under the scrutiny of the Spirit. Now, the problem or challenge will arise if you have not developed your spirituality to the point where you can hear God. So you suddenly now start doing tumbok. Is it him? Is it not him? Number one. Number two, somebody's appearing to you in the dream and proposing, but the person that is proposing in real life is not the one, and you haven't come in contact with that person yet. Can I advise you to just wait? don't commit yet to this person that is asking you. Commit to prayer. Take some time to pray. God, what is this? Sometimes you see a dream and the person you are seeing is not actually the person that you're dreaming about. But God is stirring your spirit to pray about something. So tell her, if she has seen the same dream twice, it's time to halt both. In fact, you can tell that dream, do not appear to me again. You shut the gate of your dream world. And then you say, Lord, I just want to take some time and pray. Direct me, show me. See, most times we're not ready to pay that price. We are microwave Christians. No. So, but if we would take the time and put in the work, Auntie Bola was speaking earlier. She said, this generation doesn't want to put in the work. We didn't do anything without asking the Spirit. Ask Badabuki. We were like mad people. If God didn't speak, we didn't move. We're not in a hurry. When my husband came, I wasn't looking for a husband. I was just busy pursuing God. And he showed up. Everything I need shows up on my way to just serving the Lord. I don't mark time because I'm looking for this. I keep going and the things meet me on my way. Praise the Lord. So she needs to halt and just pray and wait. Now when something comes, they tell you, say, you are already 36. Cannot wait though. Biological clock is ticking. I don't know who fixed the time of the biological clock. When you start thinking like that, you can't wait. So you jump and then do in the flesh, only to come and be asking pastor to do fire brigade work later. That ain't how it's ought to be. Then the way it ought to be. I ain't so blind that I can see. Don't play your rock and roll, no. Don't play your rock and roll to me. Okay? Thank you. And bye.
That's what I expected. Unfortunately now she has gone inside. Well, one of the things, she just kept on mentioning fidelity. I said, what's happening? Fidelity. I said, wait till they'll come for a year. Don't worry, if you don't understand the joke, don't follow them if you don't understand the joke. Anyways, we still have a few of our speakers in our midst. I think we have Mr. Tosin Oyelese. He'll be speaking to us about business, money talks. So the interesting thing about this singles program so far is we're not just here to just mingle, we're also here to learn. You know, the church has provided, such opportunities like Pastor, the speaker right now, and a few other people that we had yesterday and more to come. Let's also not forget we have movies later on. We still have some games for you also. Let's just sit back and enjoy. Amaka, are you ready for us? Okay. So right about now, I want to introduce Amaka and Anderson. Please let's clap for them as they come on stage. Please, you can do better now. You can do better.
Good evening, everyone. This mic. Everybody. I know some of us are quite tired, but we're young people, so we'll keep going. Okay, so we have something we're going to talk about that's very important to each and every one of us here. I know most of us, we're either working or we have a business we're running, or for some people, both, right? So both business and a job. So for some time, it's been a challenge. I personally have had that experience, right? So where you're caught between, you need to make a decision for marriage, and then you have a career that you want to pursue, or probably you haven't attained the heights that you would love to, and then you're thinking maybe there's pressure, you should get married and everything. So sometimes some people have had to forfeit one for the other. However, we've seen people that have been able to juggle both, right? So they've been able to raise fantastic families, fantastic children. Their marriage is great, at least from what we see, right? And they've also been able to keep their careers or their businesses running. We had plans to have quite a robust panel, but for some difficulties, so you just manage with us. I'll be calling out two people now that we have.
Sorry, before you call out the
Okay.
two people, one of my friends just got married, and he was telling me, Anderson, you know, if you want to go on a vacation, you can just decide now that you are going on a vacation next week and go, right? I was waiting for the point. I said, but do you know that I have to tell my wife like a month before? You know, some of us are not prepared for that switch, right? Not everybody talks about it. Even couples, people that are married don't even tell us that are single that there's a difference between making decisions for yourself and having to tell your wife, I need to change my shoes. But if you want to change your wardrobe right now, you can do that, right? Or maybe tell your husband that you need to change something in the house, right? Some men love things being in a certain place. Some men love their wives coming back to the house by 6. They are used to that kind of. But then your job will demand you coming back at 10, even late in the night, right? And oftentimes
even sometimes
people don't
travel.
talk. You would even sometimes travel. And then some men are not prepared for when you travel, who's going to cook? Let's say, for instance, there is no cook, no maid, right? And all of these things impact everything we've heard here, right? So we will be asking a few people to come up while we ask them how they were able to, if they have a cheat book or a cheat code, or if they have templates that they want to share, they should just go ahead and share.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for that, Anderson. That's just to give you some context. Now, we'll quickly call Victor Jigide to come up, please, and have a seat.
You can do better than that, please.
We would also call, yes, please put your hands together for him. Okay, Victor is married. We also call Mrs. Fumilayo Achiboye.
Let's jam our hands together.
A woman of God. So I think we'll be getting a bit, if you know what, everything works together for good in the end, right? So we're going to get a perfect, should I say, example today, because we're looking at both ministry and someone that's also, working. He will tell us about what he does, and she will also tell us what she does as well.
That's right.
About their marriage. So, Anderson, do you want to go first? Let them tell us about themselves.
Okay, so before we even go into the questions, the purpose of this is not for you to tell us perspire to aspire, tell us you started with 5K, now you're a billionaire. We want real facts, right? Because we want to learn. So as much as possible, we beg of you, both of you, to be honest with us. And don't give us corporate answers. Give us honest answers, right?
Okay, let me just also put something in there. So we would like to, the reason why we selected, if you've specially selected, is so we can get, if you've had experiences that you've had to deal with, if you don't mind, anything you'd like to share, because so many young people here having certain dilemma and all of that. So what you say today will help someone. So like he said, not aspire to perspire, that more like motivational talk, but want something born out of experience, something born out of what practical examples. So yes.
So tell us, briefly tell us about what you do, so that we can ask you questions based on what you do.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, my name is Victor Jigide. I have been married for 2 years now. I'm a production operator, engineering by profession, and I'm also a graphics designer and how will I put it now? A plant simulator. So we use some softwares to design or simulate plants that can be seen in real life. So I've been doing that for about 6 years now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's that. No kids yet, but we know that they are coming, they're on their way.
All right.
Yeah, thank
Thank you.
He's doing about 16, Sabi. Did I not count correctly?
He's a hustler.
Can you hear me? All right. Hello. Okay. So he's doing about 16. So what better person can we have up here to tell us how he's handling everything in the same 24 hours that we all have? Please, Ma, would you kindly tell us what you do?
Thank you very much. My name is Oluwafunmilayo Ajiboye. I'm a nurse. I'm a teacher. I'm a facilitator. I'm a researcher. And I'm a teacher. I work in Lagos State University, Department of Nursing. And I'm also a pastor's wife.
I thought I had side hustle.
And then I married like 11 years ago. I'm still a young girl.
All right, cool. I'm just going to dive into the next question, right? If you can go back in time, I will start with you, Ma. If you can go back in time and start again, would you rather have built an amazing career, like set yourself up at almost the highest level you can get before you start a family? Or you don't mind, you would have done, if you go back in time, you still want to build your career alongside your family, your marriage, your children, and your husband?
Well, it depends. It depends on you and your choice. When I was younger in secondary school, I always thought this is where I want to be. In fact, I set a particular age that until I'm on this age, I'm not going to get married. Meaning that before then, I must achieve so, and so. And then my friends used to see me as a difficult person. Everything is about book, career, ambition, and all that. But at the same time, the God factor. You need to bring in the God factor. If God says this is how he's going to be, you don't have a choice. And you can only get that on the platter of submission, when you submit yourself to God and you said, Lord, whatever my plan is, these are my plans, but I tabled it to you. It's up to you. Whatever you say is the final. So once God sees that sincerity in you, he will not discard your plans. He will rather tailor your plans along his own side and help you to fine-tune it, that in a way that it will be of benefit to you. Of course, you are the benefactor, and it will also be to his own glory. And that was my experience.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma. So, but like a definite answer, if you were to go back, would you have... I want to ask something about your career. Were you in school during your marriage? Did you finish everything before you got married?
No. And that's exactly
but
what I said.
Do you wish that you finished before you got married?
It depends on, yes. I will say no, I will say yes. The reason being that I always like to marry as a student. I just like it. And then, besides likeness, I think circumstances and situation made it to happen that way. Because if I have my way, I would have gotten married before, finished my school before getting married. I married at 500 level. I was still in school when I got married. Not because I got married early. I still a bit late.
So that's why I said circumstances can also push you sometimes.
Okay, thank you. Victor, how, for you, what do you think, where you are now, and looking back, do you think that you would have, what thing would you have done differently? Married?
Sorry, can I just chip this in? I was in a car with one of my friends, and he said, Anderson, before you get married, get money, you get why. Right? Make sure, say you don't deal, like, make sure you are okay before you get married. So let me just chip that in before Victor comes in. Would you have preferred to set yourself up if you were given a second chance, or you don't mind? Like, maybe you preferred also getting married as a student.
I actually set myself up before I got married. I did not like the fact that I was still in school and I want to get married. Guys, you know now, you need money. You cannot say you want to cater for another person and you are still a student or you are still hustling. Yes, we all hustle. But one other thing I hated in my life was people contributing money for me to do wedding. I don't like it. I don't like it. So that is the reason why, while growing up, entering school, university, I ensured that I did my best. God blessed our hustle, and I was able to get something doing, and life progressed. And so I don't think I would have done anything better than what I did to, further my growth.
So somebody was advising me to do GoFundMe for my own wedding. I got cancel and be that. Okay. Should I take the next question? Let me ask you. You also said you're a nurse, right? And oftentimes we know how it is for medical workers and having to move and start all over again. So I will just ask you, have you ever had to move or relocate because of your partner? Let's say, and you are married to a pastor. Like almost every 4 years, right? I'll be 5 years. I don't know what it is now. You have to go to a new station depending on where you worship. Have you ever had to switch jobs, move, change where you work because of your partner? Do you regret it? Is there something you feel could have been done better? Like, you don't have to leave, you can be traveling. Is there something you would have done if you were given that opportunity again? And what would you advise people who are in similar sector or who are prone to such kind of relationship? I currently have a friend. The dad works in the north, the mom works in the south, and they live in the west. How would you advise?
Anyway, actually, I not really have the experience of moving or relocating to another place, but I have a choice of getting a better job from where I am, but because of the nature of my husband's work, I have to choose between leaving Lagos or stay with my family.
Was that easy for you? Was it just...
That's what I'm saying. Even if my husband is not a pastor, I just want us to get it. It's not because my husband is a pastor. It depends on what you have determined to do from the onset. I never planned a marriage where the husband will be somewhere and the wife will be somewhere. Anywhere I'm going, or he is going, or anywhere we are going, that we will not be together. No, we have to settle it. It's either I let it go, or I let my marriage go. I'd never planned for husband and wife living in different places. Then another thing is, I want to assure whatever decision you take, in as much as you align your decision with God, you will never regret it. Because sometimes that work may not be our primary source. Your job may not be your source. Because even as a matter of fact, your income sometimes is not enough to sustain you. But you are making decision and you are sure of the decision you are making, and you tailor your decision with God. I'm telling you, the way God will surprise you, you will not even, it's even beyond your imagination. Sorry, I want to react to the former questions about where your plan was before you get married. I want to say that is a relative terms. It may not be absolute. What I mean by being a relative term is sometimes you may not really have the whole lot of money that I have money. This is what the amount I have in my bank account. This is the amount I have saved. Or I'm looking for a man that is totally settled. No, but why I say it is relative is you should be able to see that this person has these plans. You should be able to see future in what you are doing. You are about to put yourself into. Even though the future you are seeing is not, you are not really seeing it physically. You are not really holding on to it. You don't really have, I'm not also praying that you beg. I didn't beg for money they didn't donate money for me to get married. No, I don't like it too. But what I'm saying is you don't need to wait until you hit it. In quotes, you know, Nigerian terms, that when they say you hit it, you don't need to wait until you hit it, but you should be able to see some signs, you should be able to see foundation, you should be able to see future in what you are doing. I said, this is a future, then you go in. I said I got married when I was 500 level. Already I have some professional certificates. I have some professional certificate that can, even without that my degree I was running, then I could still work with. So that, I don't know whether you got my point.
Plan B. Just
yes.
in case plan A does
There's
not
always
work,
a plan
right?
B for women.
Okay.
All right. Victor, what do you think about that? Let me just give a little background to your gist. So Victor's work takes him, I want you to come in that angles, takes you away out of town for a bit, and then you have to come. Okay. So I grew up in a home where, my father was doing that. Now, he would travel. Then he was with Halliburton. So he would travel, and then he would, his was like 4 weeks or something. And then he would come back for 1 week, to come back home. I really didn't know much of what was happening per se as to their relationship, right? I thought it was good. Until the day I was complaining to my mother that, come, see, the only marriage I think works is Ipu's marriage. I've never seen any marriage again in my life. And she's like, if you have an idea of what it is that we, and she downloaded stuff to me. So I want to ask you, with the nature of your job, right? Have you had a situation where, I think we should just really merge it, the questions.
How you take the run now?
Yes.
How is it doing it?
Not even talk, like how you take the run now? Like how has it worked for you? And also, if you could, is this something, if you could do anything different, do you think is okay? Is there something you can change? Or how has it been working for you guys?
So many questions. All right. I had to relocate from Port Harcourt to Lagos because of my marriage. My job was kind of rotational. So I had to consider my wife. My wife was teaching in Lagos. And I didn't want her to leave her job and become a housewife, a full-time housewife, doing nothing. Because she also had her own career to chase. I met her, before I married her, she was actually planning on traveling out to study a medical course. But because of marriage, she quit, or she paused that thought or that plan, and she said yes to me. Okay, so I didn't want her to leave her job, so I had to leave from Port Harcourt to Lagos. But overall, it has been not too easy, because sometimes she will complain she's all alone, and I need to be there for her. There are certain things that happen in the house, I will need to be there for her, and I am not there. So I always ensure that before I leave, I put a system in place whereby she will be able to manage for the time being while I'm away. For the positive side, it affords her the opportunity to have her own space. She, will all experience singleness again. So it enables her to have her own space she's able to pick up any course. Currently, she's doing an online program, a preparatory course prior to the course she wants to study. So she's doing an online program, also teaching, and so it affords her the time for her to do whatever thing she wants to do. She doesn't have to bother about husband needs to eat. What do I prepare for him? Those periods I'm away. So I think in the long run, it's also a good thing. It's a good thing for me. It's working for me. Thank you.
Yeah, so if there's something I can pick from both speakers is, first of all, you have to be ready to settle or make a compromise, right? You have to prepare your mind that this is how it is and this is how I'm going to cope with it. The first speaker said, depending on your goal, what you set your mind from the onset to do. And then yours is like, perhaps it wasn't even planned. She just had to pause her dream for a while for you, and then you also feel it is okay to make a compromise for her. So it's like a win-win. I think the last speaker said negotiations is key to a good relationship. All my life, I thought it was communication. But today, I've learned that it's negotiation, right? So it is very key that all of us, we agree on what we want to do and we are able to adapt to it. All right.
Okay. Another question, Auntie Fumi. So you have got kids now. So having kids, how has that impacted your career? Has it impacted it in any way, positive or negative? Children are a blessing, I know, but you can
children are blessing, no. You can't say it's negative.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say this comes for hard working. Hard work. You need to be hard work because combining career, home front. Now, don't forget my own case. My husband is also a pastor. You know that a lot of time is dedicated to church activities. As a matter of fact, ever before this program, he's been here. Throughout the program, he's been here. So if you are taking all of his time, meaning that somebody at the backyard is filling in the space. So that's why for women or ladies, we need that strength. We need that strength. We need that resilience. You need to be hardworking to be able to fill in the gaps. Otherwise, it will show. It will either show on your children or your marriage. Somewhere, the gap will be seen. It will even be reflecting on the man. So you need to build yourself up to be able to fill in those spaces so that you'll be able to balance it well.
Are there some things that took you by surprise? Some things you never knew before you got married?
Yes, I said it. Time. Lagos is a factor. Workplace is a factor. To me, in particular, ministry is another factor, which is a major factor. I don't want to dwell so much on ministry so that I will not scare you. And at the same time, I need to say some things because who knows, you may end up being in the ministry. Ministry is a major factor. If you want your husband to succeed as a minister, you need to give in yourself to it. There's a lot to it behind the scene than what people see in the physical. Otherwise, that man may not succeed.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there some things you wish you knew before you got married? Maybe in the first 1 year of your marriage? Mr. Victor. Some things you wish you knew. Like something they didn't tell you, but you saw it.
They know woman finish now.
Sure.
It's a school. Marriage is a school that is, you'd never graduate from it. So I was always expecting because I would see new things. So there was nothing, the new things are the things I saw about my wife that I didn't know. And the things that my wife told me that I myself didn't know. So these are just the new things that I didn't know about.
So how was your switch from fiancé or boyfriend to husband? Like, was it an easy transition, or you were already practicing some of the things?
Okay, I have known my wife since I was 7 years old. I married my best friend. So okay, so we've not practiced or we've not been practicing the marriage things, but each time I ask her out, she tends to turn me down. And because I was like, okay, you're not ready, let me focus on other things. I had to focus on building myself, making myself become an asset, a person of value, and she herself was doing same. So it didn't make me pause my life at any point in time. So finally, she said yes, and I was happy, and we got married. So that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
for
very
that
much.
honest feedback.
Okay, so I have one question. Have you ever had, question for both of you, but I think Auntie Femi should go first. So have you ever had a conflict of interest between your career and your marriage? Has anything ever happened? Do you have any example for us? And would like you to walk us through how you guys navigated it or went through it. Yeah.
Of course, I'm trying to remember. There's so many examples, but I'm trying to remember the one that may hit. Of course, I always love to. In fact, I wish I have my PhD before getting married. That's always been my plan. You know, I told you I love my career. There was a time I was running, but within this 11 years period, I've run through 3 different programs. So there was a time I was running a program at Unilag, and it's evening program. So I have to go to work, from work to Unilag, from Unilag home. And I was also nursing a baby. So, you know, it's a real conflict of interest. But because I already set a target, I have a goal. And with many a times I read inside Danfo. Most of my readings were done while I'm in traffic. Though there was practically no time to read. No time to read. So during those traffic time and all that, I make good use of, the Bible also said it, make good use of every opportunity you have. And I want to say, I even have better grades than when I was single. So I read inside, I always use that Danfo light to read while inside traffic. Why am I saying this? There is one point I'm trying to eat. And what is that? Goal. Setting targets. Setting goals. When you set goals, you set your target, you place it before God. God will help you to fine-tune it. And your goals must not be a selfish one. And that is why you need to define what you want. You define in a way that it will not affect any part of your life. What I mean by every part of your marriage, your children, your husband will not be affected. So once you have this, you have a driving force that is pushing you. And your goal will be that force. You walk towards it, and you will not know how you will just be achieving it. And marriage will not be obstacle. Children will not be obstacle, and your husband will not be obstacle. And you see yourself achieving your goals.
So how did you make it up for your husband? Mm-hmm. Or did you not? Is it that your husband just understood the goals and allowed, as in, you didn't have, practically, I would say you did not have time for him, right? But I'm not the judge of that. So how did he respond?
I do. I do.
Did he complain at any point that this is
You
too
know,
much?
the Bible says a good woman builds what? Her home. It's a foolish woman that destroy it. So it depends. And that's why you need wisdom. Proverbs chapter, I think, is it chapter 5 that said that get wisdom in all your getting. What do you need to get? Wisdom and understanding. If you make Holy Spirit your friend, he will help you to balance it up. If you make Holy Spirit your friend, when you need to pause, you will know. When you need to go on, you will know. When I said that I was running a program, you know what? It was so real that I don't need to read everything because God knew what, he knew that I have so many things to attend to then. So sometimes I have practical experience that what is going to come out is what I'm going to read. I will be reading and God will tell me, stop, enough, and I will stop. And question will not come out beyond. And that's why I have a better, I wish I had this knowledge while I was undergraduate. So, and questions will not go beyond that. So I was able to fill in God, with God, not by my power, was able to fill in those spaces. Because my children, I have children too, my husband too. And at the same time, I have to fulfill my responsibility as a pastor's wife to pray. You also need to pray. So my devotion time, no go area, is not being affected. My husband is not being affected, and my children. But none of this is out of my own power. The source of all wisdom is who? The Holy Spirit.
Amen. All right, Mr. Victor, have you ever placed your marriage on the line for your career? Just as like we asked her, had there ever been a time where you just expected your spouse to understand that you need to make money?
No. Family comes first. For a healthy relationship, family comes first. I will not, and I did not put my family or my relationship on the line. I initially suggested that my wife could travel after we got married. She can continue with her career while I wait for her. We will always find a way of bridging the distance. I used the idea that, I knew her since I was 6, 7, so we've already had this relationship and understanding. But she said no, because she didn't want that distance. She didn't want us to be far apart, because it can strain relationships. Distance can strain your relationship. So we didn't put it on the line. We also had mutual understanding. There are times whereby she had to do some certain courses while I was around, and sometimes she would not even have my time. She won't have my time. She'll come back from work tired, and she has assignments to do. But when I see that she comes back from work and she's tired and she still has assignments to do, I cook. I cook in the house. I assist her.
1 million, yeah.
I assist her in cooking. Well, let me not say cooking per se. There is soup in the fridge. I'll bring it and warm.
It's part of it, though. What you did is...
You'd have just left it there now.
I want to try to be honest. So I make either the semo or pounded yam, and I boil the rice and all that. So that is it. So whenever also I am kind of busy, for instance, after I come back from work and I also have a training to attend, she also understands, and we have this mutual understanding and try to assist in helping each other's weakness. Because when I'm also busy, she herself, it is then she will be looking for attention. And, we just have a way of playing around it. And God has been helping us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So that people won't leave here, you said she had to even pause a part of one of our goals for you. Was it that you demanded her to pause it Because I wouldn't want us living here to now call our partners to say, okay, now, you see other people are posting their goals. You should also post your goal for me.
Okay.
Did you demand it, or she just willingly do it?
Like I said earlier, I wanted her to go for that course, but she willingly put it on hold because we've seen a couple of families whereby their wife travels out. For instance, I have one who traveled to Ghana to study medicine for 6 years, and the man had been with the 2 children, and it worked. But for us, being that our relationship is still very young, we needed to put a system in place first before we could venture into that. So she willingly let go for the meantime.
That's great.
So can I add this? One of the strategy that works for me is, and I think God gave me the strategy, I focus on one thing at a time. For example, if I'm at work, is work. Once I leave my place of work till the next time, once I get home, everything about work stop. So then I know that I'm at home. I face home. When it is school time, I told you sometimes I read inside some of my readings were done inside the vehicle. Why? Because so by the time I get home, is home. So I think this strategy works for me. So then, yes, you may have demand. There may be demands on you that you need to take office work home. But with wisdom, you should be able to balance. Even if I'm praying, if my husband comes around, I will stop prayer. Yes, once he comes, I stop. So when we finish just thinking God, I then go back to my prayer. So I will not even allow prayer even to cut off his attention. So if I can do that, why won't I be able to do it for my work?
So you told God, God, be right back. We are learning every day. I'm not sure if, some of us, we've been piling work at work. You now get home, you will now have mind to tell your boss that you are not going to do the work that you have been piling. It means that you have to be very excellent at what you do at work, right? So if we are excellent enough as Seventh-day Adventists, if our bosses know that when they give us work to do, we will do it, and we'll do it above average. Even when they send us mails, I've been in situations where my boss is sending me a mail, and he says, Anderson, I know you'd be at church. Once you're done, in your earliest time, would you kindly respond to this? This is somebody that can fire me without sending me a mail, right? So it is very key too, as young people, for that your strategy to work. You have to be very excellent at work. And I pray that God will help us even as young people in Jesus' name.
Amen. All right, so we want to wrap up now, but does anyone have any question? Is there something that you have gone through or you are in right now in a career versus marriage fix? Is there anyone with any such challenge? All right, so we have 2 hands up. So can I see your hands properly so I can? Okay then. Nathan, just take it.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm struggling on how to ask this question to the lady, so it doesn't look like an interrogation. Okay, let me use myself. So recently, I resigned from 2 jobs. I was actually with a department in a university in River State, and an adjunct in another university in Delta State. But somehow I had to respond to ministry, and I was ordained and resulted to my resigning. Now, I love good things, very good things, and I do not want to fall short of standards. Okay, yeah. But within a period, I've been in and out of, so to speak, relationships because the spec, so to speak, we had yesterday, we talked about my spec. Are you your spec? And someone asked me, I said, I'm not my my specs spec yet. Because then they would say, okay, I loved you because you were this, but now you are a minister. And minister, so I want to ask this question. It's still coming the way I didn't want to ask you. How have you been able to cope as a pastor's wife? That's one. Would you have preferred not to marry a pastor? Or what if you would prefer not to have married a pastor? Sorry, like I said, I didn't want to make this an interrogation. Probably it would have been personal, but it's a burden. Would you prefer that what would you have preferred or had as an addition to make you happier? If you're happy, but to make you happier in the marriage. Thank you. As a pastor's wife.
Thank you very much. I think as a child, from childhood, I don't want to be too personal so that you will not be seeing me as somebody that is spirit coco or
we see you like that already.
Yeah, but this was what actually inspires. My story starts, the journey of marrying a pastor starts when I was in JSS2. When we're just, for those of us that went to public school, Wednesday is usually slated for, Auntie, Abby? Wednesday is usually slated for labor. We don't have the category of those people here that you go and cut grass, down all sorts. And we're just chatting. And a friend of mine, I'm Adventist. Born, buttered, everything Adventist. When I say Adventist, there are some things we're not exposed to. And this friend of mine is from a Pentecostal background. And we're just gisting. And she mentioned something that an uncle of hers that she likes so much. Then they used to believe in knowing who you marry, seeing vision, knowing the will of God. That was my first time of hearing that there's something called the will of God. Wow, interesting. I picked it up. And I started praying, could there be will of God? And I started searching since Genesis 2. And I've been praying, God, if there's something called the will of God, that is what I want. And I saw that Abraham, around that time, an uncle now preached in church and said that when Abraham saw Eve, he was convinced from it. When Abraham saw, it's Adam. Adam saw Eve. He was convinced and he said, this is my bone of bone and flesh of. And I said, Jesus, this is fantastic. So I want to see him and know that. So, as a child, I don't know what it means, but I'd never stop praying from that Genesis 2. And I also have another thing. I will not date in secondary school. So, and I did not date while in secondary school. So I already know that whoever I'm going to date is my husband. So, now, coming to your choice, if I had another choice, I want to marry a medical doctor. Why? I said plan goals. I had the mind of, actually I want to do medicine, but I didn't have the opportunity. But my plan is that when I marry a medical doctor, we're going to have our hospital. I don't want to work under anybody so that I can have time for my children and my husband. As a child, and I've been praying towards it. Now, when me and my husband jam, yes. My husband did not start as a pastor. I never met him as a pastor. We were students. As a matter of fact, my husband read microbiology. So, this pastor thing is not as if I already, but I knew before we finally agreed to marry each other, I knew that it's going to end up in ministry. So I already know. I already know the kind of man I will marry. And then I used to say as an Adventist, the question I used to ask God that, can I get such a man in Adventist? Because I already want to marry an Adventist. And what God is showing me, I can never see it in Adventist. Because in Adventist, what you believe a pastor is, you go to Babcock, you do Aswa. But what I'm seeing is not Babcock pastor. What I was seeing was not marrying, pastor moving from. So I'm seeing something different. And that is what my husband is doing now. So it was difficult for me to get, I never believe I can see such a man in Adventist. And of course, the devil will push your thoughts. He will work with your thoughts and push something to deceive you. So everything that matched up with what God was showing me are non-Adventist. But because I kept praying, God, I want to marry Adventist. If you can help me. Finally, he came. And when I saw him, I said, hey, this is the best thing. I never knew I can see it in Adventist, though. I have seen. So maybe that was one of those things that helped me. Because it's like something you've already been built, you've been prepared. Maybe, another person's story might not be the same. So that one has already built me into it before we got married. And even before he came here and he finally became a full-time pastor, we already started a ministry together while we were dating. We had a ministry that was going while dating and blah, 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 till now.
Okay, thank you so much, Auntie Fumi. Thank you, Victor. I'm sorry, guys. We're running out of time, or we've run out of time, as a matter of fact, so we're unable to take any more questions. I would like Victor, however, to give a last comment, just like in less than 30 seconds. Anything that you'd want to say to someone here that's probably in a career and marriage fix? Could even be.
Let me combine 3 sentences in 30 seconds. Okay, first, for the ladies that have seen a guy that wants to marry her, please, when next he takes you out on a dinner night or another outing, ask him this question: what plan does he have for you in this marriage? If his answer will inform your decision on what to do, either you might be a housewife, end up being a housewife, taking care of children, or taking care of your children's children, doing a mugo, or he will motivate you to kickstart your career or even make your career path smoother. Then for the guys, please try and hustle and do what you can do legally, and pray that God blesses your hustle so that you get married. Love is sweet, but when there is money, at least when there is... wait. When we don't say that you should hit the jackpot, no, but you should have the basic needs. So that is what I mean. So thank you very much. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you. Please.
Okay, finally, my words will go to ladies, and I want to emphasize 2 points: time and discipline. Time and discipline. I will start with discipline. As a lady, be disciplined. What I mean by discipline, if you are not disciplined, you will not know when your man will pass you by. Yes, you will not know when your man will pass you by. So be disciplined. Don't be too forward. Don't be too... When you are disciplined, you set boundaries, set goals. You'll be able to see and know when the right man comes your way. Then number 2, there's a lot to that. Number 2 is timing. We find it difficult to balance career, work, home fronts together because we waste a lot of time on unnecessary things. If you're able to manage your time well, you will know that most of these things that seems difficult will not be difficult. Time management is very important. We waste time on unnecessary things sometimes, and that is why to balance some of these things are difficult. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. God bless you, ma. Thank you, ma. So all what we've been saying, you can go back to your seats now. Yes, please. Yes, please. Thank you. So all what we've been saying from yesterday is know who you are before you even think of getting married to anybody. So you don't end up having issues to say, my career comes first or my marriage comes first. May God help us in Jesus' name.
Please, let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. Mr. Kelvin, I need my soundtrack now. Okay, guys, I need us to stand up a little bit. Let us stretch. I think we've sat down for too long. So let's just stretch. Yeah, stretch a little bit. Stretch. For 30 seconds. We'll still do this, but at least just stretch. Kelvin, please, I need my soundtrack. Thank you. Just stretch. Do it a bit. Do it for a bit. Bring it on. This is not the time to leave, oh. This is not the time to leave. Please. All right, can we be seated? Thank you. Right. So now, as you know, I always... Kelvin, bring it a little bit so that I can hear myself. Thank you. As you know, I always bring a twist to everything. You're wondering, why am I holding balloon? This is a children's party. Don't worry, you understand. We've had a lot of talk. So we're trying to just bring a little bit of spark into this whole thing. So what about now? Just, please, can we bring it out? Thank you. I'll let you know when to play again. So what about now? Just pay attention, right? Pay attention. This is going to be short and very quick, and we'll go to the next thing on our agenda. My fine lady, pressing her phone, please. Please, I need you to come with me. Thank you. Please come. Can we clap for her? She comes on stage, please. Come. They will keep clapping until you follow me. So just go. Let's go. Keep clapping. I need the soundtrack now. Keep clapping for her. As she walks majestically, clap for her now. Bring it on. So I call this the balloon game. Now, listen. You're going to look into the crowd now, yeah? And you pick 3 guys. Just bring them here. Bring 3 guys right now, seated. My soundtrack, please put it up so that she can have ginger, yeah? Clap for her. She picks 3 guys on seats now. They're going to be on a hot stage right now. 3 guys. Random guys. 3 guys. Your spec, oh. But waiting for you, no time. 3 guys, yeah. Just so that she have been eyeing these guys. Scream now. Yeah. 3 guys of your choice. 3. Make it snappy. Please clap for them. She has a good... Kelvin, bring it on. Mr. Nigeria. Okay. Auntie, you're not done, no? Eh? Kilode, stand up, my friend. Come here. Gentlemen, have your seats. Thank you. My soundtrack, please. All right. Now, these 3 guys, they are going to woo you. And you have to pick one person. So whoever's balloon you take and bust, that's the person. If she touches your balloon, she doesn't bust it, you can have a good day. Right? Do you understand? So they're going to give you a nice pickup line. They're going to woo you. So whoever line is, they're going to shoot their shots. So whoever's line is the best, you bust their balloon. If not, just touch and say, thank you. So who's going first? Yoruba Demon, who wants to go? You go first now. They point another person. And then, see, let me now give you a expo. If they are shy, if they are forming this, that's part of it too. So it's not just about the talk, it's about everything. So if you want to stand, stand. If you want to sit, sit. But you're supposed to woo her. You can sit down, pretty girl. You can sit down. Kill a day. You can sit down. Thank you. When you're ready to talk, let us know. Let's go. Introduce yourself and then you shoot.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Waiting consign them. Your name and you go. Waiting consign them. Hey.
Yeah, I'm Ezekiel by name. So.
"30 seconds. I will count to you. Please help me. 30 seconds, please. Whoever, please. Just do a timer.
You're a very pretty lady. I would like.
Hold on. Please. Wait. We have to hear him now. I don't want to agree. Calm down. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Once your time is up, you go and sit down.
You're a very beautiful lady. I would like to be my girlfriend, if you wouldn't mind. You're looking so great. I would like to be my girlfriend, if you wouldn't mind.
Should we give him more time? Should we give him more time? You should go and sit down. May you go sit down? They say you should go and sit down. They say you're wasting our time. Next person. Let's go, bro.
Hi, my name is Agbeniga Elijah. Please, what's your name, please? All right. Okoyemi, my mommy told me to look at the sky and find the right star. And then right here, I don't have to look up already. I have to look at you right. Looking at you right now, I can see the right star. You're my Orion. Nice to meet you. All right, thank you.
Hold on. I'm hearing now that somebody else is even feeling his own line behind, at the back. Bro, chop out. So if you not agree, you already have somebody that is eyeing you at the back here, so calm down. It's not a loss after all. Oh yeah? James Bond, Mr. Nigeria, let's go. Don't fall my hand, dude. Music, if it's not ready, then just, Are you ready? All right, let's go.
Hi. My name is David. Name. Okay. Me staring at you makes my heart beat. And then it's a clear sign I've seen my dreams.
Hold on, wait. It's unfair now. We can't hear it now. How about? Even the babe cannot even hear. Time up, hold on. They were distracting him. Go on.
So me staring at you makes my heart beat. And my mom has always told me to follow my dreams. So would you mind following me?
All right, thank you. Music, thank you. Hold on. Bring it on. If I tell you what she said, let me not say it. No. Now like I'm a ball. All right. Did we even get her name? What's your name, please?
Baby.
Hear the voice. Your name is what?
My name is Okwe.
Okay. Okwe, you're just going to touch. You first touch the people that you don't even like at all. Right? And then you can bust the balloon. Anyhow you want to do it, yeah, but let's know who your choice is. Music. I'm waiting for your question. Give it up for Mr. Nigeria. You have to clap. So if you go and sit down first. Go on the side here. Okay. No, he's going to sit. Mr. Nigeria, give us the mic. So now, you are going to start from there. You go out catwalk, meet her, then go back to your seat. I said, that's a catwalk. Just anything, just freestyle for us. Walk from there, yes. Just, with swag. Music, bring it up. Then just go and meet her there now and do the needful. Oh yeah, you don't do. You say go to the gym, go and work out. All right, Mr. Terry, over to you.
Let's give Nathan a round of applause. Come on, this guy has added color to this program. Thanks, Nathan. We know Sibi you collect number actually. We just that game, Abi. Nathan, it was a game, right?
It was a game. Oh.
Baba don't collect number. But don't worry.
He's allowed. Someone is accusing me of matchmaking. Is it not allowed? I don't see you all sing though. Oh, you're not searching. You're not searching.
It no concern you now. If you are single, you are single. That's it. If you want to.
Some people are singing, but they're not searching, no.
All right. Okay. Thanks, guys, for participating. You see, there's part A of me saying, let's go on a break. Part B is saying, just hold on another 30 minutes. Let me tell you why. Now, we're going to have our very last session. Hold on. And then, after that session, we'll give you some free time to just stretch around and then do what you need to do. Then, let's say by like 7:38 or so, 7:30ish, we start our fun night. The barbecue is outside already. Just for like the guys are already slaughtering the goats and turning it to suya, and the popcorn machine is ready. And then Nathan and his team, they are ready, to make. We're going to have fun. The rest of the evening is going to just be fun. But the reason I'm going to just beg you guys to chill just 30 minutes more is this. After all said and done, I'm sure there's someone here who wants to know how to raise venture capital for their business. When I check Technex, so apart from Technex being my brother's company, I follow them. So I get updates. You just say, small idea, yeah, $2 million, seed funding. Seed funding means we like your idea. Go and use it to develop the idea. So, take money to develop what's in your head. Seed funding. Would you not want someone, probably you have this fantastic idea. I was talking to Gideon and he told me some fantastic stuff. Would you not want someone to show you how to put it into perspective such that Y Combinator will just call you and say, hey, come and take 3.5 million seed funding. 3.5 million seed funding. You know how much it is in Naira? Now money. $1 million is already 530 million Naira. And then a black market rate, we just try that's a lot of money. So I want Tosin to, please, Tosin, can you step up? Tosin Oyelese, he's actually a veteran. He's the MD of Alphios Limited, and he's a business management consultant. Now, Tosin's specialty is preparing people, preparing companies on how to be ready to receive venture capital. He's done a lot. We know him. Now big boy. It's just now big boy. So not be aspire to perspire. Shea Amaka. We know the whip when he and a big boy. So this thing works for him, and he's done it for several other companies. So for those of you who have fantastic business ideas, including myself, listen.
take notes, and then look out for the strategies as much as possible, collect in contact, so that if even, so that I want next year, one of you here will sponsor the conference. Do you guys, one of you just say, you know what, I benefit from last year, take this 3 million naira check. We go lodge on for a co-hotel. Not be city lodge, a co-hotel straight. Rent coastal buses to be bringing you after every session. It was that kind of thing. So, see, I want you guys to listen. 30 minutes, 35 minutes max. Learn, gather as much as you can, and then we would go for a break and come back for our evening fun. All right? Let's put our hands together for Tosin.
All right. So, the interesting thing about it is everyone that we introduced today, they've all said fantastic stuff. Will you agree with me or not? Now, I'm begging you again. I begged you for the other guests. I'm begging you again. Just leave Instagram, leave anything now, and listen. Bring out your jotters, bring out your pen, and jot things down. Sound, please help me. Because he's a special person, I want to introduce him how Nate does. He's my big bro. Sound, help me, please.
Whatever he says from now on, I paid him to say it. So. Carry on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Tosin Oyelese. You can do better. You can do better. And you thank me later.
The corporate hype man. Thank you so much, bro. I'm so privileged to be here, guys. I don't take it for granted at all that you've waited for, the entire day, the entire program. So I'm very honored that you're still here. I'm someone that moves around a lot, so you just have to just keep following me. But I want to start with something. So can we all just stand up for a second, please? Can we all stand up? Everybody. Can we all stand up? If you don't like money, sit down. No, let me say it again. Maybe we didn't hear it the first time. If you don't like money, sit down, please. It's okay if you sit down. It's fine. We won't judge you. Oh, so we all like money? Okay, we can sit down. I was just checking. It's important to check these things and not make assumptions. Because it's easy for me to say, let's talk about raising capital, and then some of us aren't even really interested. So normally when people are talking about capital, they're talking about very technical things. They're talking about whether it's debt, equity, mezzanine, and all these very, very fanciful words. But what I'm going to spend time, just the last few minutes I have here, is I'm going to talk more about the foundational stuff you need to do before you can even start talking about raising capital. So can I have the next slide, please? So how many of us know Paystack? How many of us know this deal that happened, that they got acquired for $200 million? The two founders, do they have two heads each? One head each. And yes, they built a business that was acquired by a big US firm for $200 million. Yeah? And usually when we see these things, we go, oh, hey, God, when? Yeah? That's usually the first reaction. We're thinking, oh, those guys must have done something really, really special for them to have gotten it. Look, I've had the privilege of interacting with different entrepreneurs. Some who have brilliant ideas, some who have, I'll be very nice, not very great ideas. But I've seen both parties raise money, right? I know we're all very intelligent people here. We've all thought about different ideas. Some of them we've started working on. Some we're just kind of keeping in our minds. But can I ask, how many people are entrepreneurs at the moment? How many of us are entrepreneurs that we already own a business? Okay, just a few of us. How many of us want to be entrepreneurs? Okay, can we go to this next slide, please? So yesterday you had Anderson. It's actually Anderson, incidentally, or rather coincidentally, this article I found was actually on Anderson's, totally unplanned, Anderson's website, and it was about Utiva and how they were sort of accepting to like an accelerator for $20,000 each. These accelerators exist, they're everywhere. Every other day, you probably wouldn't hear it in the news because some of these things don't end up in the news or they don't end up online. But there's lots of companies every blessed day raising money. Next slide, please, just to show you like a little bit of statistics. 1.37 billion was raised by Nigerian startups last year. Not naira, dollars. Nigeria accounts for the larger majority of startup capital raised in the whole of Africa. About 40% of the money that comes in from the US, the United Kingdom, Europe, Asia, about half of it ends up in Nigeria. So the question now is, how come there's all this much money and I don't have any in my pockets yet? Do you find yourself wondering about that? But I think what I want to do today is I want to challenge us to start looking at fundraising in a slightly different way to how we look at it traditionally. Can I have the next slide, please? I'm going to have to go through this very, very quickly. Who wants $1 million by next week? I'm not joking. Who wants $1 million next week? You want $1 million? You want $1 million? Why do you want $1 million next week?
I want $1 million by next week because I have a lot of ideas that I would want to execute. Some I would use to develop myself personally because if I don't have the capacity as a human being to carry out those things, that's if I don't have those, how do I put this? If I don't have sense, exactly, let me put it in layman's language. If I don't have sense, when this money comes, I won't be able to use it. I will squander it. But if I have sense, I would know what to do with it.
So it's funny you mentioned sense. So I've been in management consultancy for over 20 years, and I've dealt with entrepreneurs both abroad and here in Nigeria. If there's one thing that makes you lose your sense, is money. The number one thing. Don't get it twisted. You know, people normally think, okay, $1 million. I can tell you one thing. If $1 million lands in your account now, you will run mad. Honestly, no cap. Because these ladies here are looking very mischievous. And I think the moment you say $1 million, they've already planned something. You know, so there's something that happens with human psychology. So there's a need for us to reward ourselves, right? So when you get $1 million, what's the first thing you're thinking about? You're thinking, you know what? I've suffered so much. You know one thing? I think I deserve a treat. God bless you. Yeah? So you think $1 million. How much? If I just crush this $50,000, what's the big deal? But the problem is $50,000 becomes $500,000 within 1 week. That's why you find that people who win the lottery normally lose that money in less than 5 years. Everything. Yeah? So, can we have the next slide, please? Now, the most important question, and anyone that's ever had an interaction with me, that's my favorite word, by the way, why. I'm always asking why about everything. And the reason is why you decide to do something is what determines how you do that thing and how well you do that thing. So one of the first questions you ask yourself is, why did you even decide to be an entrepreneur in the first place? So those of us that are entrepreneurs, anyone that wants to tell me why they decided to become an entrepreneur? Can we have a mic for the gentleman, please?
Please.
What inspired you?
Your name?
My name is John. I'm an architect. Okay, for a start, I feel like Nigeria is backward in terms of our structure. And for you to be able to have like a big impact, you have to be a game player yourself. Most times, as an employee, you're being paid to do what you're told to. So even if you have nice ideas that you feel should work or it's even more economical, but because your boss feels otherwise, you have to do what he wants. Now, for a second start, you cannot expand if you work for someone else. That's my belief. Now, there are a lot of things you may want to do, bring into your own style of design or impact in your generation. And when you work for someone, you wouldn't be able to do that or have the time to do that. You may want to acquire more skills or expand your leverage, go into other fields of business. But when you are doing like a 9-to-5 job, you may not have that time to get the skill, build the connect, or even do that. So being an entrepreneur, starting out on your own, even though it's small, is a stepping stone to going for something bigger.
Wonderful. Can we just give an applause for that, please? And you're going to find that the same story rings true for a lot of entrepreneurs, most entrepreneurs. So I would tie up what you've just said in one word: freedom. Yeah, right? You want to be free. You want to be able to make your own decisions. You want it to be that you made a decision to do something and then something happened and then you made your own money. And then you're not having to, like in a situation where sometimes you make money for the company, but the company gets the major part of the money and then maybe they give you like a small bonus at the end of the year. And sometimes it can be very frustrating for entrepreneurs, especially, or people that have an entrepreneurial spirit. So for those of us that have businesses, why do you feel you need to raise capital right now? Why do you feel that you need to raise capital right now? No, let me go further with that question. Is there anybody here that has a fully developed business idea that they've already started executing? Can we just show our hands? Yeah? Okay. No, not yet. So we have a few people here that have businesses that have already started. How many of us have ideas that are still in the concept stage? You're still thinking about it, you're still developing it. How many of us? I asked you people if you people like money earlier, and you guys are not thinking about the ideas and what you want to develop. The money isn't going to fall down in your lap. So for those of us that have ideas, if you were an investor and someone came to you with the same idea you had, would you invest in that person? How confident are you in your product? On this, okay, I'll ask you actually. On the scale of 0 to 10, the business you have, if someone was to come to you with that same idea, let's say you're an investor, the roles are switched. How confident are you on the scale of 0 to 10 that you can invest in that product?
I'll say 8.
8. Okay, you're that sure about it. What sector are you in?
Okay, the product is education.
Education. Okay, so like edutech? Or is it technology or more like a service?
Yeah, more like a service.
Okay. And you fully developed the idea?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to that a bit later on. Because I want this session to be as practical as possible. Now let's jump to the next slide, because I can't spend too much time on some of these things. Can we go to the next slide, please? So, when do you need to raise capital? You know, we were saying something earlier that if someone gives you $1 million, what would you do with it? And we talk about, the fact that, you might get a bit carried away or what have you. And that's what I've found has happened to a lot of startups. Some of them have raised money too early. They've raised money too early. They got lucky. Maybe they had a really good idea that just seemed to come out at the right time. It was like all the stars in the sky just aligned for them. But they weren't really ready, but the money was ready for them at that time. It happens. It's not all the time. And what I've found is 9 times out of 10, that money gets misused. 9 times out of 10. And even that 1 time out of 10, they've misused it a little bit, but they managed to make a recovery. Most times people, because you see, it's easy for someone to give you $100,000 and for you to squander it. It's really easy. It might seem, $100,000 might seem like a lot of money, but it's not. $2 million might seem like a lot of money, but actually, in reality, it's actually not a lot of money. Especially when you've worked with startups and you've seen what the cash burn rate is, depending on what sort of service that they have. But one of the things I want to ask you, I'm going to discuss this a bit later on, but I just want to just touch on it. How well do you really know your business sector? That's a question I think every entrepreneur needs to reflect on. How well do you know it? Do you know that industry like the back of your hand? Like, if I woke you up, if you were sleeping, you've been sleeping for 5 hours, and I just kicked you. And I said, okay, tell me ABC about your sector, and you could just start telling me stuff and throwing figures at me. Until you get to that stage, you're not really ready. And, I work with investors all the time. I mean, I'm an investor myself, so I've sat on both sides of the table. I've sat on the side of the table as an investor, and I've sat on the side of the table where I'm the one looking to raise capital. And I can tell you right now that investors can see through your BS. They are very, very smart guys. They didn't become millionaires by accident. I promise you. Those guys are very, very sharp. If your numbers are wrong, and even you don't know that your numbers are wrong, they will tell you and they'll punch holes in your numbers. They don't need to look at it for too long. They can just look at your numbers at a glance, and they will know that you're just talking nonsense. So it's very, very important that we make sure that we've gained a good grasp of our business sector before we start talking about looking for finance. And I've put a Bible verse there, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, that says there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the sun. And I'm not going to get very preachy here or anything, but you have to trust God's timing when it comes to your business. I'm living proof of that. I can tell you some amazing stories of what God has done in terms of me just letting him just tell me when to do something. Even when I'm just itching, I'm like, man, I need to do this right now. But God is saying, wait. And I've been in situations where God has made me wait 48 hours when I thought I was going to lose something, and then something amazing happened after that. So we need to be able to trust God's timing. Next slide, please. So I'm not going to dive too much into this, but there are two primary types of capital. Yeah? Now, under these two categories, either debt or equity. Now, what is debt? Debt is when you go to borrow money from a bank or a financial institution or some other investment firm. And the idea is you're saying, I'm going to borrow $100,000 at X or Y interest rate, and I'm going to pay that money over X number of years, right? So that's debt. Equity is when equity for an investor is a riskier venture. Equity is when they say, I'm going to give you this money. You are going to give me so and so percentage of your company. So I am sitting right next to you, assuming that's risk. But for taking that risk, I want 25 or 30% of your business. Yeah? And I have to sound a note of caution here. There's a problem we have with entrepreneurs here in Nigeria, and I think it's very, very common. I've seen entrepreneurs turn down investors, smart, very, very good investors, because the investor says he wants 35%. And they say, no, I can't give away 35% of my business now. No, one thing. And what has happened is, that 35% you didn't want to give away. In the long run, you realize actually that you probably should have just let go of that part of your business from the moment you had that offer. Unfortunately, some people are happy to own 95% of zero. I mean, if you look at your Mark Zuckerbergs and your Elon Musks and what have you, the amount of stock that they hold, or the amount of ownership they own in their firms, are sometimes less than 20%. But yet, then, like in the top 10 richest people in the world, and you're thinking, how does that work? But then that's because they IPO'd another, but that's a different topic for another day. But I think it's very, very important for you to decide as an entrepreneur yourself what sorts of money you're trying to raise. If you're someone who doesn't mind giving away part of your business and you want the investor to partner with you, maybe the investor's bringing in some other sort of value. Say, for instance, how many of us watch Dragon's Den on TV? Dragon's Den, and like a reality show. I think there's one in Nigeria now. There's like is it Guinness or something? I can't remember. I think it's Lion's Den. So how many of us know Lion's Den? Okay, so you have a group of investors and people come in and they pitch their business and whatnot. And you find that sometimes if you see an investor in front of you who is in the sector you're trying to go to, and he asks you for a big chunk of your business, I always tell entrepreneurs, think very carefully and probably answer yes. Because that person isn't just giving you money. They're going to give you access to the market. They're going to make your life easier. And there's sometimes when we're raising money, I asked a question earlier that, do you really need to raise capital? I'll give you an instance. A group approached me in, I think, 2018 or 2018. I know it's before the pandemic. And they were looking to raise capital. They were looking to raise about $250,000. And now the funds we were managing at the time was way more than that. So we could afford to put that money into the business. And even if it failed, it wouldn't really hurt the investors so much. Right? So we could afford to take that risk of $250,000. Not a problem. Now, the issue wasn't the fact that they didn't qualify for the money. They actually qualified for the money. But by the time they gave us their pitch, we looked at their business model, and I'm very big on business model. I mean, I will look at a business model and I will just rip it to shreds, and then we'll put it back together again. And I found actually that they didn't really need that $250,000 that they came to us for. Do you know why? Because one of my partners had another investment in that same sector. He had all the access they needed. It was literally a case of, do you know what, I'm going to take you, I'm going to get you the contract will start paying you from day one, and you don't need to raise one kobo. Now, I'm not saying that happens all the time, but sometimes you find a situation where you need to look at your business very critically and say, okay, do you know what, are there any options open to me? Or maybe I know Nathan is in banking, for instance, now, and maybe Nathan has a friend that already has done something in agriculture or whatever, and I say, okay, do you know what, I have an idea. Why don't we partner together? Strategic thinking, very, very, very important. And can we go to the next slide, please? And even actually, just even still on that old slide, I said something earlier that knowing what sort of money you're raising would tell you what sort of investor you need. That's very, very important. Not all investors are good. And also remember that an investor is trying to raise money, right? Or you think the investor just wants to give you the money because you look nice or you speak good English? He wants to make money. So it's important that in talking to investors, because we're still going to go into how to pitch investors in a minute, in engaging investors, it's important that you yourself are also interviewing the investor. It is so key, guys. So key. There's some investors that are just sharks. All they're thinking about is how they love your business idea. All they're thinking is how they can grab it for themselves. And if you're discerning and you're wise enough, you should be able to see it. You'll be able to see it, actually, by the things they put on the table for you. So my prayer is God will give us all the wisdom to know how to discern in Jesus' name. Now, the most important skill, I would say, in raising capital is sales skills. If you cannot sell, you will not raise jack. Write it down, tattoo it, whatever. That is the gospel truth. You know, there was something interesting about the game we played earlier. What was that actually really about? It was sales. Guy rocks up to girl and says, "What's up?" Blah, 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 blah. Sales, we are selling. We are always selling. And unfortunately, it kills me sometimes when I think about how people want to raise money, but you haven't learned the art of selling. I'll use Nathan as a very good example. We've seen how energetic Nathan is. Nathan can sell stone to people living on a mountain, you know, because he has that ability. But sometimes you don't need to have a huge amount of charisma. Yeah? Because we always think the best salespeople are only the people that have the gift of the gab, they know what to say, they know how to say it and all that. It's not always about that. One of the first things I would say is love. Do you love your business? Do you love your business? Is it possible to be dispassionate about something you love? In other words, I mean, let's think about it. If you say you love something, does it follow that you should also be passionate about it? Otherwise, then you don't really love it if you're not passionate about it. As entrepreneurs, we have to understand that whatever business that we're doing, let it be the business that we love. Because you see, being an entrepreneur is hard. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. You know, my two sisters are entrepreneurs. My dad's an entrepreneur. My late mom was an entrepreneur. We're all entrepreneurs. So I guess maybe like I got a bit of the cheat code quite earlier on. But it comes down to the same thing, which is the fact that you have to be passionate about what you do. There'll be times when you will be frustrated. You want to give up. You want to throw your laptop against the wall. True story. You're just tired. The only thing that keeps you going when you wake up the next morning is the passion you have for that business. Knowledge. Again, how well do you know your business? Are you a subject matter expert at your business? If you're not a subject matter expert yet at your business, don't go and embarrass yourself to raise capital. People like me will destroy you. Yeah? Because I will ask you a very simple question. Why are you in my office? Because if I know vastly more than you do about your own business, problem. Yeah? You're coming to my office, you're going to an investor's office because you know something. You have found an opportunity in the market. You know how you're going to pursue that opportunity. You know where all the hidden money in that opportunity is. You know the cheat code. You know exactly how to make money from that opportunity. So when you're coming to me or you're coming to an investor, you want to be able to demonstrate to them that, it's almost like, look, man, I know something that you don't know. That's what intrigues investors. Investors like people who know what they're talking about. Also, research your potential investor. The people that I enjoy interacting with the most when I'm being pitched are the people they've done research on me. These guys know what I had for breakfast. They know what size my shoe is. They know everything. They've done a lot of research. They've spoken to people and all that. Because by the time they come in and they start telling me my biography, I'm like this. I'm like, wow. It can be a bit creepy sometimes. I've had some people that are a bit... It was a little bit creepy because they knew almost far too much. I was like, what happened? Has this person been talking to FBI or DSS or something? Yeah? But it's important that you know your investor as much as you can. LinkedIn is there for a reason. Go on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, please open a LinkedIn account. Create a nice profile for yourself. Even Facebook, Instagram. Some of these investors you're going to find, they're actually on all these social media channels. And it's amazing what you can discover about certain people and their interests, just looking at what their social life is saying. Yeah? The last thing I wanted to mention also is capacity, which is also linked to knowledge. You have to develop personal capacity before you start talking about raising finance. So let me ask a question, or rather, let me give you an analogy. Imagine we were all going on a journey from here now, and we wanted to go to Ikeja. And there's a bus outside. And as we're entering the bus driver says, okay, well, welcome everybody. I don't know how to get there, but we'll figure it out. How many of us, and we've never been to Ikeja before, would we enter that bus? Who wants to get lost? And that's exactly how it is with business. There's a phrase, I don't know, I'm probably going to say it wrong. It says, follow who know road, or follow who sabi road, or something like that. That's what it's like in business. Investors are not going to follow, or rather invest in someone who doesn't know where they're going. So it's important for you to actually develop a spirit of excellence in all that you do. A spirit of excellence. Anyone that I've ever had any more than 5 minutes interaction with will know that this is something I'm obsessed with. You have to have a spirit of excellence. If you're not trying to be the best possible version of yourself, as far as your business or whatever is concerned, you're not going to get very far because there's just too many obstacles in life and in business that you have to overcome. And also, don't be afraid. I'm not saying you should be a show-off now. You have to be bold about showing your capacity. Be confident in showing your capacity. If you are an expert at something, show it. Investors like confident people. So next slide, please. So I'm going to talk you very, very quickly through this acronym that I created, just on some tips for your pitch, or rather, tips for raising capital, if you like. So next slide. So K. So you've got knock there. K is knowledge. I mentioned that earlier. You have to know your products and your industry inside out. You have to know your products and your business sector inside out. That means you have to be going, it's so, a bit frustrating for me when I see people who haven't even used Google to even check facts on their business. Yeah? I've had a situation where someone's come to my office, they're looking to raise some money, and maybe, I saw their pitch deck beforehand, and I said, okay, and I went online, I did just a quick research, 5 minutes. I spent 5 minutes of my own time just reading stuff, and I made some notes, and I just waited for that person to come in. The person probably ended up not saying anything about the things that I found. I'm thinking, does this person really know their industry? So it's very, very important for you to show knowledge and to build knowledge in your business. Next slide, please. Wait, now we move to N. Numbers. How many of us like numbers? Nobody. I'm not surprised. Look, let's face it. I didn't like numbers before. I hated it. I couldn't stand it. But as I grew in my entrepreneurial career and I started raising finance and all that, I had to force myself to learn numbers. And after a while, I actually enjoy numbers. This area is the area that most entrepreneurs fail when raising capital. I said something earlier that smart investors, they can't be fooled. They can tell when your numbers don't make sense. In my time, I've seen some numbers that made no sense. And they come into the office and say, my company, the company is valued at $30 million valuation, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, $30 million valuation. Man, you haven't started yet, though. Even Paystack didn't have that kind of valuation when they first started. So when they say those sort of things, it makes me want to kind of pull back a little bit. And you find that most investors are like that because you're thinking to yourself, this person probably has their head in the clouds. So, and the thing is, even if you're not a numbers person, find someone who is, or get someone's help on your numbers. Next one, please. Oh. So I'm going through this very, very quickly. Openness. Openness. I said something earlier that investors can see through nonsense. Yeah? You've got to be open to feedback. Reverend Bature mentioned something earlier about something similar to this, about feedback. If an investor gives you negative feedback about your business, it's for your own good. Be open to feedback. It's okay. Some investors will tell you in a nice way that your idea is rubbish, or you might meet someone nice like me who will tell you in a very nice way that, go work. Yeah? But either way, you have to be open to feedback because that feedback is what you can use to refine your products. I've had people who have pitched me a business in 2014. I critiqued certain things. Okay, no, this doesn't make sense. Why don't you guys change this? Why don't you guys change your model? And they've come back 18 months, 2 years later with a fantastic business. It didn't take me 5 minutes to make a decision to invest. It did not take me 5 minutes. Because not only had those guys taken the feedback I gave them almost 2 years ago, they've even gone beyond that. It's almost like they took the feedback I gave them, they re-looked at it, and then they just took it to a whole different level. And I think anyone that's serious about the entrepreneurial journey has to be thinking along those lines of being open to feedback. Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. You're an entrepreneur. Life will slap you in more ways than you can imagine. But you just have to keep your mind open to feedback. Next slide, please. C. Clarity and confidence. How clear are you about where you're going? Most importantly, how clear are you about where your business is now? Even you as a person. Now, you say you want to raise capital, and I asked us all the question. I said, who wants $1 million? All of us wanted $1 million, right? But the truth is, some of us are not just ready for $10,000. It doesn't make it. And I don't mean that as an insult. It's just that some of us are just not ready for that. There's a certain maturity that comes with raising capital. Like I said, I have seen guys raise money, and the next thing was tear rubber G-Wagon. Straight up. Tear rubber. And they drove it, crazy thing, they drove it to my office. I don't even have a G-Wagon. They drove it to the office, and I was like, wow, balling. Yeah? So it takes a level of maturity to know that, okay, look, this money that's coming in, it's not my money. You're a custodian of that money. But again, if you don't have clarity about who you are, where you're going, that could lead you into a whole lot of trouble. Now, I mentioned confidence there as well. Now, there's something that's very interesting. How many of us wear glasses here? Okay, quite a few four-eyed people. Madam, four-eyed woman that wants to spend $1 million. If you took your glasses off and I told you to run from here to there, can you run confidently? Confidently. But if I got you to put your glasses on and then to run, you run comfortably, right? Now, that's what clarity is. When you can see where you're going and you're sure about where you're going, there's a kind of confidence that you have. It just oozes. You have it. People can smell it. They can see it from afar. So it's important for you to get clarity on your business because that builds a lot of confidence. And guess what? Investors love people who are confident. I'm not saying you should be arrogant. Again, I've met a few of those ones as well. The confidence became a bit too toxic. You know, you come in there, even when we're trying to correct you, Seth, you're like, I said, no, sir, I beg to differ. I said, sorry, oh. You know, and then in that instance, you've just put an X right next to that person. Okay, this person isn't open to learning anything. And usually, pride comes before what? A fall. Because at one point, my fumble. Because after all the bragado and everything, there's always one Achilles heel in the business. And we just, people like me will just keep quiet and just watch you. And then we now bring that point and then you keep quiet. Then you're now humble. Don't put yourself in that situation. Be very, very clear about what you're doing and be very confident in your business. Because if you don't have confidence in your business, you can't sell it. Last letter, please. Keep on keeping on. That's the last K. Keep on keeping on. The journey of entrepreneurship is a journey of faith. It's a journey of several knockbacks. You see, for every story that you see online, you see the stories of, this company raised $2 million, this company raised $5 million pre-seed. Trust me, those guys have handed out at least 100 pitches. They've had like 99 rejections. I know because I've been on that side when I've tried to raise capital. Maybe when we're trying to build a fund, they would just say, no, we're just not sure about you guys. We're not sure about Nigeria. Blah, blah, blah. And we're almost begging them back then, like, please put money into Nigerian tech. This thing is about to blow. This is maybe like about 7-8 years ago. Yeah? So it's just very, 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 very key that you have it in your mind that even though you're going to get knockbacks, you're going to come across obstacles, you have to keep on going. Very, very key. Next slide, please. So I'm going to just give you a quick quote. That this is actually on my WhatsApp DP, for anyone that's on my WhatsApp. And it's from Thomas Edison. It says that our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. One more time. So I want you to start having a mentality that if you get knocked back, yeah, you feel bad about it, but just say, you know what, I'm going to give it just one more go. If you get knocked back again, just say, I'm going to give it one more. Look, it might be, that one more might be 100, but it's okay. The journey of entrepreneurship isn't for the faint-hearted. In fact, I don't really recommend it for everyone. We all want the freedom. We all want to have control of our own destinies. We all want to be able to say, okay, I'm the CEO or the co-founder or founder of XYZ. But it is hard. I'm not trying to put us off, please. Please, I beg of you. I'm not trying to put you off being entrepreneurs because it's a very rewarding thing. Part of my own reward is the fact that I can wake up at 10 a.m. in the morning. I can decide to have my shower at 12. I can walk around the house and decide, am I going to the office today or am I not? And I give myself that opportunity at least once a week where I just don't do anything. I'll watch Netflix at 12 p.m. Because I can. you know, and I enjoy it. I think it's a nice feeling, but only because I know that the day before, I had worked my butt off. I'd worked for like 20 hours. I was working constantly, and I said, okay, do you know what? My body needs rest more. And I decided, today is Netflix day. And I sit there, Netflix, ice cream, don't look at my stomach, ice cream, popcorn or whatever, and I just treat myself. But then also because I know that tomorrow, I mean for the next week, I am working my butt off. So that's part of the benefits that comes with being an entrepreneur. But again, like I said, it's a marathon and it's not a sprint. Anyone that's looking to just sprint should probably go and learn Yahoo. I'm just being honest. And then, of course, if you get caught or whatever, that's your problem. you didn't get the recommendation from me because I was Mama deny straight. Yeah? So it's important that you understand that it's not a journey of 1 month, 12 months, 1 year. No, it's a daily journey. Every single day. Every single day. And being an entrepreneur, especially one that's looking to raise finance, no 2 days are the same. You can talk to a nice investor today, feeling so high. The investor told you how your idea is so wonderful. You are so high. I used to enjoy that so much. I've gone to a page, and the investors told me basically that I'm the next best thing since sliced bread. And I'm pumped. Even when I go into the next meeting, I have so much confidence until they humble me. Because maybe I flew too close to the sun, and maybe they pointed out something that maybe the first investor didn't understand. Maybe the first investor probably didn't understand my business sector. So it was easy for me to impress them. But then I went to jam the guy who really knew what was going on. I said, oh boy, your idea is great on paper. And it is humbling. I went to my car, I sat down, looking at my steering wheel for like 5 minutes, talked about my life. And I was like, okay, do you know what? We move. We start the engine and you carry on. Yeah? So I'm going to just take us to the next slide. Again, I'm not a pastor, FYI. Please, next slide. Matthew 7:7-8. We all know this Bible verse. Can we read this together, please? 1, 2, go. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives. The one who seeks finds, and to the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Don't be afraid to ask for money. I'm not saying beg. Don't be afraid. If you know that you have a great idea, and you believe in that idea, and you have that conviction that what you have is something that can make a lot of money, and you have numbers to back it up, you have industry data to back it up, and you have a business plan. And that's what I want to end with. How many of us here have business plans? A full business plan, or not one sheet of paper that you just put the idea on. No. Business plan, you have an industry analysis, you have your risk analysis, you have your SWOT analysis, your pest analysis, numbers, projections. Do you have all those things? Business model. Am I losing some people here? I'm losing people. It's like, as my list... Oma, why are you hiding? As the list was getting longer, people's hands were kind of... yeah, but it's important that your business plan has a lot of these elements. I'm going to find a way to see how I can share some resources for everybody. I think, Terry, we can have a chat about that, where we can share some resources on how to build a business plan that makes sense. Look, your business plan doesn't have to be 100, because people think until your business plan is 100 pages, you haven't written a business plan. No, I've had 10-page business plans, 10 pages that have blown my mind. And it didn't take long to make an investment. It didn't take long at all. So your business plan, the efficacy or the effectiveness of your business plan isn't dependent on how long or how verbose it is, and you've used colorful language, you spoke to your English professors to help you some big words to put inside. It's not really about that. It's about, do you have an idea that you're communicating clearly to an investor? And can the investor see the value in what you're selling. But like the Bible verse said in Matthew that we just read just now, there is nothing wrong with you just keep knocking the door. Because the Bible, that's actually God's promise to you. I didn't promise you that. He didn't say that this is Tosin's promise to you. No. That's God's promise. And without getting too churchy or anything, I said something earlier that the journey of entrepreneurship is a journey of faith. You're literally you're doing this. It's like you're going on a cliff, to the edge of a cliff, your eyes closed and you do this. And then you open your eyes and like, oh, wow, I'm falling. Okay, now what do? Do I build the parachutes? That's what being an entrepreneur can be sometimes. But just always know that when you ask for help, you will get it. And if you don't get help from some people, because you see, another thing I need to point out very, very quickly, there's some people that don't want to help you. They have the money to invest in your business. Sadly, we're in a society where a lot of things are very transactional. I've heard some horror stories, some terrible stories, especially from female entrepreneurs. I'm not saying male entrepreneurs don't go through it as well. But I've had, and I think it's very, very important, especially with the things going on in society right now, it's very, very important for me to mention this. Anyone that asks you to exchange sexual favors for capital, run. Run. Slap him, then run. Tell them I told you to do that. Actually, no, don't. Yeah? Run. Because that person doesn't care about your business. Do you really want to take money from someone who doesn't care about your business? Do you? I don't think anyone does. I know some ladies have gone down that path and they didn't like it. They didn't like the outcome. Yes, you might see that all of a sudden they've blown and, they have their Range Rover and this and shopping Lekki Phase 1 and all that. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm also the same person that ends up counseling them. My counseling room is full of people who have made those sorts of mistakes. And they're saying, Uncle T, I wish I actually didn't. Even when I look at the things that I have, I'm actually disgusted. And it's easy to look at their Instagram pages. They are living the life, the softest life. But that soft life came at a cost. So I want to implore those of us that are ladies here, especially, who are entrepreneurs, be very careful about, there's a lot of sharks out there, a lot of wolves in sheep's clothing that are just looking to take advantage of you. They take an interest in you. I mean, they're a lot more subtle now. They're not as obvious as before. Before, they were very direct. They'll just say, so you want money, eh? Hey, you're not a child now. You know what to do. But then now, they're a bit smarter. Now they draw you in. They act like they care about your business. But the truth always comes out eventually. And when the truth comes out, please don't be afraid to walk away. Don't be afraid to walk away. Please don't slap them, like I said, please, because, but don't be afraid to walk away. Because, God has already promised you that if you knock, what's going to happen? The door will be opened. So it's not every single door we knock on are doors that should be open to us. So my prayer for us today, just as I round up very quickly now, because I'm going to take some questions, is for God to give us all the spirit of discernment to know which doors to knock on. Amen. Anyone that wants to claim it can say amen. Feel free. I'm throwing some blessings out there. I pray that God will give you the spirit of discernment. I pray that He will open your eyes to the doors that should be opened. I pray that He leads you down the right path. I pray that your business will be a business that will change the world and change destinies beyond your own. And lastly, I pray that God that's put you on this journey of being an entrepreneur will get you to the finish line. In Jesus' mighty name. I am ready for questions.
My people are working. Okay, bring it out. You know me, bring it out. I always bring a plot twist to everything. You all know me. So while Mr. Tosin was talking, I need to be clear. Some babes were just, I don't know, I hope it was what he was talking about and not him you guys were looking at. Anyways, he said two things that was quite intriguing. And sometimes when you communicate, the way you relay the message, how they want to understand it is up to anybody. He did not say you should do Yahoo. He said, because we used to lay emphasis on that. So when I was at one program in Victory Sanctuary, and the guy said, if I want to use the fastest option, let me do it. That's not what he said, though. Please, don't lie on my guy. So we'll take 2 questions, please. Okay. Abaka, okay, 3. All right, it's fine.
Good evening. Okay, so my question is, so in a case of a social enterprise, you want to raise a fund, so how do you go about it? Where maybe you're already on the pilot stage of the project, so you've gone the pilot 1, gone the pilot 2, and you see it's viable. So how do you go about the fundraising for a social enterprise? Then also, okay, I've gotten the fund. What about sustainability?
Say it again?
I've gotten a fund.
You've gotten a fund.
So, no, I'm citing an example.
Okay.
So I've gotten a fund. So how about sustainability?
Which aspect of sustainability? I want you to be clear.
That's why I said a social enterprise.
Okay.
No, it's not for profit. Because
Okay.
it seems like most of what you're talking about for profit, you have your numbers are right, you have a projection. But for a social enterprise, an NGO, some don't really have so much projection. They can only predict on the impact, not on the numbers.
Yes.
And we have been talking about the numbers. So how do you build sustainability even after getting a fund? And also, how do you go about raising a fund for social enterprise?
Awesome. So I'll because we've also put money into social enterprises before as well. But the thing is, you said something about numbers, but I'll still come back to numbers again on this one. Now, when you're talking about social projects, you're talking about something that has impact, right? So let's say, for instance, now your thing was on education, like which it is, and I don't know what exactly it is you're doing. Maybe you can share that with me later on. Is maybe you say to yourself, okay, there are 30 million girls in Nigeria that are not in school. Our enterprise or our social enterprise is going to take 40% of those 30 million. You see where I'm going? You're having figures there that can be verified. And also, remember, because you're in a very unique space. You're in the sweetest space, by the way. She's in the sweetest space, and I'll tell you why. They're literally using money to chase you guys. If you know where the money is. There's so much money, guys. There is so much money out there. Too much. Money that's literally looking for a home. The money is like, I'm homeless, please, just let me enter your house. Yeah? Now, so for your social enterprise, it's one of those things where, yes, you have your business, but then there's the money out there that's just floating everywhere. So the question is, how do we create a link between you and that money out there? Now, in education, for instance, now, which is actually, I don't know what number that is on the UN SDGs, but I think it's like 7 or something. Or is it 4? Okay. On the UN SDGs. The point is, the UN is saying we want the whole world to be at a certain level, like on par in the area of women, youth, water, girl child, education, and all the rest of it. So the money is out there waiting for you, but you have to be able to demonstrate that you know statistics. The people you want to impact, you're not just going to impact them today. You want to impact, let's say you want to impact 30 million people. Okay, fine. We want to be able to impact 25% of them. But we want the growth rate to be at 5%. So every year, we're impacting 5% more, 5% more. And then you do your projections and say, okay, by 20, and you give yourself a target. I'm telling you what you're probably already know already. So you say that by the year 2030, we are aiming for X number of people to be in school. That's the heart of your sustainability right in there. Because you see, so I'll break that down for you. So you have a situation where the UN right now, sustainability has become such a sexy word now. When you go to property, even some this property company we're working with at the moment, we're trying to, get some fun stuff for them. And sustainability is a big part of it. So they're saying things like, oh, we don't use this sort of materials for our building. We're using this material. It's eco-friendly. It's sustainable. It doesn't impact the environment and all the rest of it. But in your case, I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about the education side of NGOs or what have you. I don't know a lot about it. I would love to know more about it. But I will still come back to the fundamentals, which is, can you demonstrate in numbers, the type of impact you want to make by a certain time? It's important. You have to define that goal and say, okay, we're here right now. This is where we're trying to get to. This is the path, the roadmap to where we're going. Because anyone that's looking to give you funds, that's what they're looking at. They're looking at the fact that, okay, if we give you $250,000 right now, how far will that get you? Yeah? And when are you going to need the next $500,000 or the next $2 million? They want to be able to see that. So again, it comes down to numbers. You can't escape numbers with fundraising. Any fundraising, whether it's profit for profit or non-profit, you can't escape it. Yeah? Anyone else? I think someone else had a question.
All right, good evening. Yeah,
Good
thank
evening.
you for your presentation. So I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm a product manager. So I'm
So you're
asking-
what, sorry?
I'm a product manager.
A product manager. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm asking from an operator perspective.
Okay.
Yes, so you mentioned earlier that, when you're talking to investors, they are asking you questions to understand if they should invest in your business or not.
Mhm.
Now, as the entrepreneur, what are some questions that you should ask the investors or the VC firm to know if they are a good fit for you and your business?
I love that question. And that's I said something earlier that it's like a two-way thing. In as much as the investor is talking to you about your business and all that, you're also interviewing them in a way. You want to see whether they're a good fit for you, right? So some of the questions you want to ask them is, okay, now that I've explained what my business is, where do you think this business, realistically, in your own opinion, is going to be in 4 or 5 years? And they might come back to you and say, but you've had your plan. No. I want to know what you think. Now, the answer they give you to that will tell you the heart of that investor. It will tell you whether they actually even believe in your business or not. Because I'll tell you something for free. When you ask a real investor that question, they already know the answer in their minds. When they listen to your business, your pitch, your product, they're already thinking, is this business still going to be in operation in 4 years, 5 years? The reason why I said 4 or 5 years is that is a typical exit time for a lot of investors. So a lot of equity investors, when they come in, they're looking to exit your business. I'll explain what I mean by that. They're looking to exit your business in 4 years. So they're saying, okay, I'm going to give you $100,000, for instance. And I know that by year 4, my $100,000 would have turned to $1 million. And by that time, when I hit that target, I'm going to exit your business. So they already have that thing in their mind. So that's one of the questions you can ask them. Where do you see my business or you see this product further down the line? Yeah? Another question you want to ask them, and this is where you have to be a bit humble. Ask them and say that, is there anything about this business that gives you concern? So you're asking the investor, is there anything in my business model that you're not so sure of? Now, it's a very kind of dangerous question to ask, but it's a good question because you're making yourself vulnerable. You're telling the investor, look, I've done this pitch, it's wonderful, you clearly like it, but you know what? Is there something you think I am missing? You'll be surprised how much investors would appreciate vulnerability. They won't think you're stupid. The fact that you're in front of them means that you're not stupid, that you made it that far to be in front of them, right? So don't be afraid to ask them questions that will give you some sort of feedback that may make you uncomfortable. Like if they tell you, and say, you know what, your business model is okay for the first 2 years, but by year 3, you're going to run into trouble. Yeah? And also another thing to add to your question that you asked is, when you're doing your business plan, do something called a risk analysis. How many of us know what a risk analysis is? So a risk analysis is you're looking at all the things that can affect your business. So things maybe like operational risks. You know, the staff ran away with your bike. Maybe you're doing logistics business. That's an operational risk right there. It might be a technical risk. Maybe your app failed or, you know, somebody hacked your app. It could be a regulatory risk. Government just decided no more Okada. I mean, see what happened with the Go-Kada back then. Yeah? That's regulatory, that's like government risk at its finest. Yeah, so it's important to do risk analysis on your business. And it's not a bad idea to also ask for feedback from investors on the risk analysis and say, you know what, I've told you what I think the risks are. What other risks do you think there are in the business? Because you see, ultimately, whatever answer they give you is for your own benefit. Because if you've listed 10 risks and they give you 2 more risks to add to that, you now have what, 12 risks to think about. Would that help your business or not? It will help your business a lot. You might find those 2 risks I've mentioned to you are the things that might actually sustain your business into year 3, year 4, year 5, and year 10 by God's grace.
Thank you. I think that will be all for now. Let's clap for Mr. Tosi again. You can do better than that. Come on, we spoke about money. Okay. Mr. Terry.
I promised that it wasn't going to be long. But it's just that the problem is the kind of people we brought, facilitators. Like 30 minutes is not always enough, Abby. Did you guys gain a lot? Was it a waste of time? No. You get? So just forgive us for the time, but again, nice one. So we will go on a break. Now, no, before I get there, let me tell you what is to come, so that all of us are tired. But let's just, after this night, now, no go bother now again. Tomorrow, if you want to go by 6 a.m., bye-bye. If you want to go by 11:59, bye-bye. But after 12 o'clock, God knows, I've told them, collect the money from that person. Exactly. All right, so checkout time is tomorrow. I don't know if I should do vote of thanks now, but I'm still around. I'm not going. My family has gone back. You know, I'll still be here with you till the end of time. All right? Now, you see that the popcorn machine is already, spinning popcorn, pop, 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 And then if you step outside, you need to open the door. Okay. When you step outside, 3 goats have already been barbecued. The 4th one is on fire right now. So we are ready for the evening. The drinks will still start. I'll be giving you water since, Abby. But this night, we'll do drinks, don't worry. Not be saying that we vegetarian pass. We'll do drinks. So that we just help the taste buds jump a little bit. So, that is the program for the evening. Nathan and his team are going to everything, focus, fun. All right? We'll just try and have fun, get to know ourselves. But before then, between now and 7:45, look at the time. Between now and 7:45 is our break. Use this period to eat. All right? For those of you who are saying your lace material is affecting your skin and you need to change, use this period to change. And then Gideon said, those of you who feel like swimming, there's a swimming pool at the hotel and you have access to that you can swim, but make sure you come back by 7:45 latest, because that's where we're going to start. Now, how many of you are promising that you will come back? There is a whole lot more that's happening this night.
Some people have even ordered their Uber. I can see them. They are stretching. Thank God.
But it's just that I can't keep you further. The movie, we already have the movie loaded, so it's going to be. Ask those that came for the movie night in February. It was excellent. So, let's rise up as we share the grace for this session. Not the entire grace. Not the final grace.
For this session alone.
Exactly. But please, come back by 7:45. So, eat your food, walk around, stretch.
and come back, So, and coming back is just to wear freestyle clothes, do jean and t-shirts, like freestyle, all right? And then for those of you who are from church, like Victory Sanctuary, and your mind is telling you that if I stay for the movie, how do I go home so late? And if you guys are not too many, I think we can take care of you. We'll give you a place to stay for the night. All right? So if your constraint is if I stay, I'm not don't worry, we've got you covered as well. All right? We try now, Avi.
We try. Come for us now. We're not come for us.
Let's come back. Let's just have fun. Let's end the conference with fun. Let's share the grace. Let's share the grace. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with us now and forever. Amen.